Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. Naruto. Tsunade is so fired up, I have a emotional system. Chapter 41. I'm framing you. Frame you. You admit it so directly. I don't even have the joy of success. Ding. Uchiha Obito has a strong, crazy, emotion, reward, done, hell rebellion. This moment, Uchiha Obito's mood is extremely painful. Although it is said that Uchiha Ryu himself confessed to killing Yamanaka stroke. It is completely confirmed, and it is difficult to change it. This is equivalent to, the framing plan was perfectly successful. For him, it should have been advantageous and something to be happy about. However, Uchiha Obito is really not happy at all. It's outrageous. There is only one feeling of Obito now. The development of things has been completely out of his control. What will happen next? He is really confused. Inside the base, seeing that Uchiha Ryu admitted it personally, Shimura Danzo's anger came up. Ding. Shimura Tunzang has a strong anger, emotion, reward, done tree root burial. He shouted out with some gaffe. Okay, just admit it. Then tell the old man now, why did you do this? Why kill the old man's right-hand man? Is it a mountain stroke? What's wrong with you? Or is the old man sorry for you? Faced with the questioning of Tuanzang, Uchiha Ryu said with a puzzled face. Tuanzang-sama, what's wrong with you? I'm a ninja of Konoha, how can I kill my companions because of my personal likes and dislikes? As for you, not only did he not feel sorry for me, but he was so kind to me. I'm going to kill the mountain stroke, it's for your sake. What? Shimura was confused. You killed the old man's right-hand man, and said it was for my good. It's for your own good. Uchiha Ryu said as a matter of course. You don't know yet. Quote, stroke in the mountains. He's the spy who hides so much. What did you say? Shimura Danzo's eyes widened suddenly. It can't be. Mountain Stroke has been following the old man for a long time, and he has always been my right-hand man. Quote, that's just the way it is. The Uchiha shrugged. Lies come as soon as you open your mouth. Last night, I sent out the wooden clone to investigate. Quote, I saw Yamanaka Wind and a shadow ninja connect with my own eyes. Quote, I didn't hear what they were saying. Quote, when Shimura Danzo heard this, his pupils shrank suddenly. Could this be true? You, still investigating this in the middle of the night? The Uchiha nodded solemnly, yes. Quote, I can tell that Danzo-sama is very worried about this spy. Quote, as the most loyal subordinate of Lord Tuanzang, I must share my worries for Lord Tuanzang. Digging up this spy as soon as possible is my most important task at the moment. And night, isn't it a good time for spies? So, I've split up a total of 5 wooden clones to spy on each of the 5 root ninjas. Quote, I didn't expect that I was caught by a mountain stroke all of a sudden. When Shimura heard this, he was suddenly moved. This kid, I'm really loyal to my old man. In order to help the old man dig up the spy as soon as possible, he was busy all day during the day, and continued to work at night. Be aware that even if you use a doppelganger, the final feeling of exhaustion is also to be fed back to the body. In fact, that's it. Shimura Tunzo had basically believed Uchiha Ryu's words. After all, this little ghost was originally the person he trusted the most. And, think about it. If the Uchiha really betrayed himself and wanted to cut off his wings, it is impossible to use the wooden escape technique to kill people so blatantly, and throw people at the gate of the base. Isn't this self-destructing? Who would be so stupid? Not to mention, Shimura thought about it carefully. The inner ghost was a stroke in the mountains that he had taken very seriously. It doesn't seem reasonable at first glance. But think about it. Actually, it's quite reasonable. It's because it's someone he trusts so much that he hasn't been exposed for so long. That's why we can discover the existence of A and report the news to Ape Fei. That's right, everything is on the right page. For a moment, Shimura Danzo's mood suddenly became relaxed. But he still taught with a straight face. Even if Yamanaka is a spy, you shouldn't have killed him without permission. He should be taken down and handed over to the old man. System space. Thousands of hands couldn't help but hide their faces with their hands. It's over. He knew it as soon as he heard Tuanzang's words. This is the who have already believed the rhetoric of the Uchiha stream. You're such an idiot, Danzang. How many words has this little imp said in total? It's just a dizzy twist on you. How good are you to hold on for a few more rounds? Ding. 1,000 hands have a strong grief and indignation, emotion, reward, 1,000 hands flow, strange power. System prompt. I have received this reward from the 1,000 hands pillar before. After reward, 1,000 hands flow, strange power, power plus 20%. Faced with Danzo's accusations, Uchiha Ryu explained. That's what I was going to do. Quote, bring the mountain stroke to you and leave it to you at your disposal. Quote, I didn't even think about killing him. Quote, that's, Shimura asked tentatively, raising an eyebrow. He took the initiative to kill you. Not really, the Uchiha shrugged. However, Yamanaka doesn't seem to know that I'm also a spy of the 3 generations of Hokage. Quote, after seeing that his affairs were revealed, he actually began to lobby me and, for the 3 generations of Hokage. He can help with referrals. Quote, the corners of Shimura's mouth twitched slightly. I secretly said in my heart, mountain stroke, this fool. The old man values him and cultivates him. Quote, he doesn't know gratitude, so it's okay to betray the old man himself. You even want to bewitch others. The Uchiha didn't seem to see Danzu's expression. Go on, if it were all that, I wouldn't have killed him. Quote, however, he saw the conventional means of persuasion not to move me. Quote, the more you talk about it, the more outrageous it becomes. Quote, whatever you say, follow Lord Tuanzang, there will be no future. Quote, I can only live like a mouse for the rest of my life, living underground. Quote, the entire route, even the Lord Tuanzang, seems to have some authority, but in fact it is just something that can't be put on the table. Quote, it is never possible to stand on stage. Quote, only by following the 3 generations of Hokage-sama can we have a glorious future. Quote, he also said that he was not the only one who thought this way, and that many of his colleagues at the root were. Ding. Shimura Danzo has a strong rage, emotion, reward, the seal of the root of the tongue. Yaga. Hearing these words, Shimura Danzo completely broke the defense. He lived all his life. Any bad language is acceptable. He can accept others calling him vicious, evil, shady, etc. Only, I can't accept it, others say that he is not worthy of being the Hokage. All the efforts he made throughout his life. It's all so that one day, I can stand in front of the stage and ascend to the position of Hokage. Admired by 10,000 people. And until now, Shimura Danzo still believes that he can definitely do it. Moreover, he has always felt that the subordinates of the root must also believe so. I didn't expect it, I didn't expect it. It turns out that in secret, they actually think so about me. No wonder. It's no wonder that when the ape flew in yesterday, it easily shocked all the root elites. It turned out that in their hearts. After all, do you still revere the Hokage the most? All the details, at this moment, seem to be all connected. This moment, Tuanzang felt that the beliefs in his heart had collapsed a lot. The whole person seems to have aged several years all at once. This moment, Tuanzang felt that the beliefs in his heart had collapsed a lot. The whole person seems to have aged several years all of a sudden. At this time, Uchiha Ryu also looked very indignant. You know that, too. Quote, you are the elder I respect the most. Quote, the mountain stroke insulted you so much, my emotions were completely out of control. Awakened on the spot the 3 hooks jade riding wheel eye. At the same time, I couldn't suppress the killing intent in my heart, and I killed him directly. Ding. Uchiha Obito has a strong, dazed, emotion, reward, Mu-dun, riding wheel eye compatibility plus 10%. In a corner that no one knows. From beginning to end, Uchiha Obito who witnessed everything with his own eyes. At this time, the whole person was numb. He turned his head a little mechanically. Somewhat confused, he asked the black absolute next to him, it's not. If I'm not mistaken, I should have killed the mountain stroke, right? He even used the indeterminate word, should. Ding. Black Jedi has a strong, dazed, emotion, reward, spore technique. Heiju was also at a loss. I guess so. Quote, as a 1,000-year-old silver coin that has been dormant for many years. He's seen too many strange people. All kinds of incredible thinking and operation, it should be said, are no longer strange. But Uchiha Ryu is a person. It was completely unexpected. He couldn't understand it at all. This little ghost. It's to make up stories on the spot. And the story, it's too expressive, isn't it? Time, place, causes, processes, logic, and even mental activities are all made up clearly. I heard the murderer himself doubt myself. It's outrageous, isn't it? System space. The undead were also dumbfounded. Still, and this kind of operation. Not, can you have a word of truth in your mouth? As far as your writing wheel eye is concerned, haven't you awakened a long time ago? Thousands of hands gritted his teeth and asked, Imp, isn't it painful to have a conscience if this is such a deception? Don't you think it's too much? Uchiha said nonchalantly. Hey, what's the point? He still has to thank me. Was a little dazed between the 1,000 hands. Root base. Danzo listened to Uchiha Ryu's words, and almost burst into tears on the spot. The old guy reached out with a trembling hand and patted Uchiha Ryu on the shoulder heavily. Good. Well killed. The old man didn't misread you. Wait. Tuan Zhang suddenly reacted halfway through. Some looked at the Uchiha stream in disbelief. What did you just say? Your writing wheel eye has awakened. Yes. The Uchiha nodded. The chakra moved to the eyeball, and immediately manifested the pattern of the 3-hooked jade. Good. When Shimura Danzo saw this, he was overjoyed. Ding. Shimura Tunzo has a strong ecstasy, emotion, reward, wind escape, wind blade. Writing wheel eye plus wood escape. The physique that the old man dreamed of has finally been achieved. Just give the child a little more time to grow. Just ask, who in the ninja world can stop the old man? Mountain stroke. Before you died, you even opened your eyes to the Uchiha stream. It seems that the old man really has to thank you. The Uchiha Ryu put away the writing wheel and continued to speak. And, quote, the reason why I threw the body of the mountain stroke at the door of our base. Quote, it's just to deter others. Because according to Yamanaka Stroke, the rest of the roots, although they did not betray Danzo-sama for the time being, fell to the 3 generations of Hokage. Quote, but in my heart, I already have some bad opinions about Lord Danzang. This is something I absolutely cannot tolerate. Loyalty is not absolute, it is absolutely disloyal. I'm just going to send the body of the mountain stroke to the other root ninjas who are not too determined to see it. Quote, what a fate for betraying Lord Tuanzang. The slightly immature voice is very sharp at this time. But soon, a gloom flashed across the Uchiha Ryu's face. But, it seems that Danzo-sama does not approve of my approach. Quote, sorry to disappoint you. Quote, please punish me. Quote, as he spoke, he lowered his head very consciously and waited for it to be disposed of. Seeing this, Shimura Danzo suddenly felt suffocated in his heart. This kid, everything is for the sake of the old man. Even the night is busy. The old man even doubted him. After condemning himself in his heart, Shimura Danzo waved his hand. Shen said, no, kid, the old man didn't blame you. And, old man, thank you. Thank you for speaking out for the old man, and for removing a scourge for the organization. Loyalty is not absolute, it is absolutely disloyal, this is also very reasonable. From now on, you have to keep up the good work. For the old man, look after everyone in this route. The Uchiha Ryu was also very moved, and replied loudly. Yes, Tunzo-sama. Meanwhile, there was silence in the system space. All the undead stared blankly at this outrageous scene. Tuanzang, just fooled and lame. Not only did he lose a right-hand man in vain, but he was also scolded by this little ghost in front of him. Finally, I want to thank others. Even, listen to the meaning of the last sentence. He also gave Uchiha Ryu the authority to continue to monitor the entire shadows. It's not hard for everyone to imagine. The roots of the future will be plagued by the Uchiha stream. What kind of scourge will become Tuanzang? It's, what a miserable man. The next moment, the triumphant voice of Uchiha Ryu sounded in the system space. 1,000-armed old ghost, Look, what did I say? He still has to thank me. He hid his face with his hands and didn't want to speak at all. Shame on you. It's a shame. Danzang, what about your usual intelligence? When you framed the White Fang kid, didn't you operate very much? Why is it so easy to be played with by a ghost now? Ding. Thousand hands generate a strong grief and indignation, mood, reward, battle experience. Thousand hands version. Uchiha Obito and Black Jedi lurking in the dark. He was completely stunned. Who am I? Where am I? What the hell is going on? Why did the script develop into what it is now? A well-designed trap plan for yourself. I thought it was seamless, and I was able to catch it. But in reality, the people who were framed didn't even deny it at all. Just take the pot. Even more outrageous is directly admit to killing, but nothing happened. Not only was it not suspected, wanted, or hunted down, but it was even more serious. As soon as he operated it himself, not only did he not harm the Uchiha Road, but he also seemed to help him. As soon as he operated it himself, not only did he not harm the Uchiha Road, but he also seemed to help him. Ding. Uchiha Obito has a strong, unwilling, emotion, reward, illusion, writing wheel I Uchiha Obito edition. Ding. Black Jew produces a strong, speechless, emotion, reward, the art of disguise. Disguise technique. It is completely different from the ordinary transformation technique. By absorbing other people's chakras, the same chakras are transformed as they are. Even the most familiar person or a perceptual ninja can't recognize it. It is the most powerful transformation technique in the ninja world. After a while, Jukai asked sullenly. Next, what should we do? What to do? How do I know what to do? Uchiha Obito was visibly irritated. Said angrily. Heiju said tentatively. Or, shall we kill another person tonight? Forget it. Uchiha Obito waved his hand helplessly. This little ghost is as clever as a spring. Quote, killing and framing doesn't seem to work very well. Quote, I think we should slow down. Quote, I don't believe that this little imp will be indifferent to the fact that he is being blamed. Quote, let's wait and see what he plans to do. Quote, makes sense. Heiju nodded in agreement. This time's recognition. It's from the heart. Inside the root base. After the Shimura group knew all the causes and consequences. Completely dispelled the suspicion of Uchiha Stream, and even more trust than ever. Immediately, all root members were recalled. Declared Yamanaka stroke a rebellion in public. And warn everyone not to get the news out there. At the same time, in front of a group of root elites. The status of Uchiha Ryu, only under himself, is officially clarified. The two root ninjas who had previously escorted Uchiha Ryu widened their eyes suddenly. Not only was this kid not executed, but he was also put on the throne. It seems that when I see him again in the future, I really have to lower my head and be a man. Gone. Ding. The letter produces a strong, ridiculous, emotion, reward, ninja ink flow. And after that, in just one morning, Shimura Danzo, who had experienced a series of emotional changes, chose to go back to the bedroom to catch up on sleep. The Uchiha Ryu still left a wooden clone and messed around at the roots. The main body rushed straight to the Hokage's office. Push open the door to the Hokage's office. As far as the eye can see, the 3 generations of old men are explaining something to the 2 subordinates in front of him. The non-mainstream white hair led by Kakashi is naturally Kakashi. The other, with short brown hair and a face protector-style forehead guard, looks honest. None other than Yamato. Seeing this person, Uchiha Ryu's eyes rolled. A brilliant idea came to mind. On the other side, seeing the arrival of the Uchiha Stream, the 3 generations greeted with a smile. Lu, come, the old man will introduce you. Quote, this is the wooden ninja that the old man brought back from the root. Quote, now, just like you, they're Kakashi's subordinates, codenamed Tenzo. Quote, after Tuanzang's training, this kid's Mudun is very good. As he spoke, he turned to Tianzang and said, oh my. Quote, it was because of Uchiha Ryu's intelligence that the old man was able to rescue you from the dark place in the roots. Quote, speaking of which, this child can be regarded as your benefactor. Quote, Kakashi's pupils shrank slightly. It turns out that the Uchiha flow. Do you still have the identity of the roots? Tianzang bowed slightly. Thank you, little brother. Quote. However, such a harmonious scene. The next second. But it was suddenly torn apart. I saw the Uchiha flow seal violently. Then, on top of his arm, a large tree trunk suddenly sprang out. With the momentum of the thunderous and ringing bells, the sky is firmly bound. Ding. Tianzang has a strong, frightened, emotion, reward, Mu-dun, thorn-killing technique. This sudden change. The other 3 people in the Hokage's office were all a little overwhelmed. Tenzo asked with a blank face. Little brother, am I saying something wrong? Or did I offend you somewhere? The third Hokage frowned. Stream, what's wrong with you? Why do you want to make a sudden move? No matter what happens, there's something to say. Quote. Uchiha Ryu's face was indifferent, and he said in a cold voice. Last night, a ninja died in the roots. Quote. It was killed by someone with a wooden escape. Ding. Ape Flying Sun Slash has a strong, shock, emotion, reward, done too long gun. Ding. Kakashi Hagi has a strong, shocked, emotion, reward, riding wheel I use experience Kakashi Hagi version. Ding. Tianzang has a strong, shocked, emotion, reward, Mu-dun, tree binding eternal burial. Nani. Ape Flying Sun's face changed wildly. What you said is true. The Uchiha said in a deep voice, of course it's true. Quote. His gaze was fixed on Tenzo. Shimura Danzo has decided to keep it a secret and suppress this matter. Quote. However, I do not accept this result. It is unforgivable to dare to attack the fellows of the village. 3 generations of Hokage-sama, let me kill this fool. No, don't be impulsive. Sarutobi first stopped the Uchiha flow. At the same time, he also set his suspicious eyes on Tenzo. Ding. Tianzang has a strong, panic, emotion, reward, Mu-dun, silent killing binding technique. Fire. Hokage-sama, I didn't do it. Tenzo's face was full of fear. Yes, Captain Kakashi. Yesterday I was on duty with him all day and night. Sarutobi looked at Kakashi. That's right, Hokage-sama. Kakashi Hachiki solemnly assured. For a whole day and a night since you brought Tenzo back, the 2 of us have been almost inseparable. Quote. The murderer can't be him. Quote. Impossible. Uchiha Ryu was completely unconvinced, and seemed a little emotional. In the whole of Konoha, there are only me and him 2 wooden ninjas, not who is he. Ding. Tianzang has a strong, panic, emotion, reward, Hokage-style ear shunjutsu, koan into the hand Tianzang version. No. Tenzo was already anxious and almost cried. Stream, Kakashi-senpai, Hokage-sama. It's not me, it's really not me. I was wrong. Uchiha Ryu's face was grim, and he smiled secretly in his heart. Nonsense, of course I know you've been wronged. The person who wronged you knows better than you how wronged you are. Give me a blast reward. Follow all the way to the Hokage's office, and Obito, who is lurking in the dark, sees this scene. Suddenly my heart was greatly satisfied. That's right. This is the reaction of the wrong person. Though, my plan didn't work out as expected. Didn't make Uchiha Ryu a traitor. But, it's not bad to put Konoha in the whole house. It doesn't seem to be bad. This little ghost is not as smart as he imagined. Not. Kakashi Hachiki looked at Uchiha Ryu in some surprise. Dark passage. You said that there are 2 Mu-dun ninjas, so can't it be you who is the murderer? But think about it. No, this little ghost is not that kind of person at all. He's the same as Obito, the inheritor of the absolute will of fire, and he's always targeted the Hokage. And, he was so kind and so good to Naruto. Quote. How could it be possible to attack the fellows of the village? Quote. What's more, if it's really Uchiha Ryu who did. Since Shimura Danzo has decided to suppress this matter, why would he stand up and blow himself up? Kakashi could have thought of it all. The old and refined ape can naturally think of it. It also took him only a split second to rule out the suspicion of Uchiha flow. But at the same time, he also thinks that it is not Tianzang. Then, there is only one answer. Ape Fei Konan Sunslash, a gleam flashing in his eyes. Konoha Naka. There's a third wood escaper. And, most likely, an intruder. Ding. Uchiha Obito produces a strong, not angry, emotion, reward, writing the experience of using the Wheel-Eye Uchiha Obito version. Uchiha Obito, who was eating melons in Mizizi, his face suddenly stiffened. Not, what about the infighting that is good? Why did TMD suddenly clear his mind? Straight to the truth. The third Kinobi ninja, Kakashi Hachiki asked, a little surprised. Is this possible? It's entirely possible. Ape Fei's face was very solemn. Alas, speaking of which, it is also the fault of the old man. Quote, I was soft-hearted back then, and I didn't decisively put that person to death. That person, Kakashi froze. Sarutobi sighed, Orochimaru. Tenzo is actually the original test subject of Orochimaru. Quote, now that so many years have passed, it is not too difficult for him to toss a new wood escape artist again. Quote, according to the old man, there is a high probability that this incident was done by that fool. Unexpectedly, it's that person. Kakashi Hachiki's pupils flashed with shock. He will never forget when Orochimaru defected. The fight between the two. No, maybe it can't be said to be a fight. It's completely a one-sided crush. Now, is that person back again? System space. Seeing that the ape flew so quickly, he judged the fact that there was an intruder. And quickly locked onto the target. The undead couldn't help but speak. Sakushish Hagi. It's worthy of the 3 generations of Hokage-sama. Bo Feng Shuaman. Old and strong, too quick to think. Between 1,000 hands. Ha 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 ha. See, this is the old man's most proud disciple. I have completely inherited the old man's witty mind. Danzang's idiocy is purely an accident. After Sarutobi explained, he smiled and looked at Uchiha Ryu. Lu, let go of Tianzang, it's all a misunderstanding. Quote. The Uchiha asked, a little suspiciously, you really didn't do it? No, it's not. The honest man shook his head like a rattle. HMPH. The Uchiha snorted coldly. It's better not. If I find out, if you dare to attack your fellow villagers in the village, I will definitely not let you go. As he spoke, he reluctantly untied the Mudun technique and let go of Tianzang. Every companion in the village is the object of our desperate protection. Got it. Understood, understood. The Tenzo chick kept nodding like a peck of rice. Although it is said that, being preached by a little imp who is smaller than himself, this feeling is extremely unpleasant. However, he did not dare to show any dissatisfaction. No way. This little imp of the Uchiha clan is too fierce. Dare to make a move in the Hokage's office. And his wooden escape looks so powerful. Above me. Listening to Uchiha Ryu's words, think about his heartfelt anger just now. Ape Fei nodded secretly. Not bad. That's pretty good. The will of fire in this child's heart is almost out of his body. His love for the village and his companions is even above the Uchiha mirror back then. After letting go of Tenzo, the Uchiha turned his head and suggested to the 3 generations of Hokage. Hokage-sama. Quote, now that it has been established that there are intruders. Quote, should the whole village be immediately placed under martial law and searched for the invaders? Definitely. Kakashi Hagi echoed. Everyone looked at the 3 generations of Hokage at the same time, waiting for his decision. Ape Fury frowned, his fingers tapping on the table. After a long silence, he said in a deep voice, no. The whole village can't be under martial law. Now that Konoha and Yun Shinobi are already fighting, the people in the village are already worried. Quote, if at this time, the news of the intruder comes out again. Quote, the whole village is under martial law and wantonly hunting, but I am afraid that it will make people panic even more. Quote, and, if it's really the guy from Orochimaru. Quote, these tactics are of no use at all. Quote, I think, let's do it. Quote, the news of the existence of intruders in the village must not be spread to the outside world, and only the 4 of us can know about it. Quote, you 3, just work hard. Quote, led by Kakashi, spy on the news of the invaders. Quote, if you find something, report it to the old man immediately. Understood. All 3 replied at the same time. Then, all of them disappeared in an instant. In the dark, the Black Absolute Uchiha Obito said. The good news is that they seem to have taken aim at Orochimaru. Quote, the bad news is, they are now determined to find out the intruders. Quote, what we want to do in the future, I'm afraid it's not easy. Quote, It seems that caution should be taken. Quote, cut. Uchiha Obito sneered disdainfully. Kakashi is nothing but useless shit. I'm going to kill one more person tonight. See what he can find. It's not. The corners of Heiju's mouth twitched slightly. He felt that Obito's brain was starting to lose its light again. This action, it's obviously starting to go astray. So he hurriedly reminded, it seems that the main purpose of our visit to Konoha is to recruit Uchiha Ryu to join the organization, right? HMPH. Uchiha Obito snorted coldly, no delay. It's rare to come back to Konoha once, I'm going to play Kakashi's stupid tricks. Heiju's face darkened, etc. It's a little strange to say that. Closing parenthesis. No way to. It seems that Obito, this fool, is determined to fight Kakashi. Forget it. Quote, I'll let Baiju clone and follow the three of them. As he spoke, his pitcher-like body slowly sank. On the other side, after the Uchiha Stream trio left the Hokage's office, Kakashi, Hagi and Tenzo both dutifully separated the two shadow clones, wooden clones. Together with the main body, he shuttles back and forth throughout Konoha and begins to observe and secretly visit, trying to spot traces of intruders. The Uchiha Ryu was very crisp and slipped back home and began to catch up on sleep. Anyway, the Uchiha station is guarded by an enchantment, and he is not afraid of the three generations of old men using the technique of telescopes to check the post. System space. Everyone watched as the Uchiha Ryu actually started sleeping directly, and they all looked at each other. 1,000 Hands couldn't help but speak. Hey, kids. Why don't you go and track down the news of the intruders? The Uchiha pouted, am I being wrong? After suffering such a big grievance and carrying such a big black cauldron, you were already very wronged, okay. Shouldn't Konoha be responsible for helping me clear my name? Of course you have to leave this kind of thing to someone else. I want to catch up on sleep. What kind of bullshit is this? The face of the 1,000 Hands darkened. Aren't you a ninja of Konoha? And, what if they can't find out about the intruders? Uchiha Ryu's expression was a little strange, that Konoha ninja is too useless. Give them a day if they can't find any news of the intruder. Quote, then don't blame me for using my own way. A sense of foreboding suddenly surged in the hearts of the 1,000 Hands. Hurriedly asked, what can you do? You'll know when the time comes. The Uchiha replied casually and directly turned off the live broadcast permissions. Really started to catch up on sleep. He slept soundly until it was dark, and then he got out of bed. Turn back on live streaming permissions. He didn't even have to look to know it. Kakashi. They're bound to get nothing. The opponent is Obito and Black Jedi, who have mastered the art of time and space and may fly. Even the second Hokage's perceptual secret technique is so perceptible that he can't perceive it. As for the two goods, Kakashi and Tenzo, it's strange that they can find traces. If you want to catch Uchiha Obito, you must fish for law enforcement. So, the Uchiha stretched comfortably, muttered loudly. Sure enough, with only 2 or 3 people, it was impossible to catch the intruder. Quote, however, the 3 generations of old men just don't agree with the whole village search, and don't pay attention to this matter at all. Quote, it seems, the guy who died yesterday wasn't enough. Quote, if you want to get the attention of the 3 generations of Hokage, you have to make things bigger. Quote, or, I'll disguise myself as an intruder and use the wooden escape to kill Kakashi Hagi. If you want to get the attention of the 3 generations of Hokage, you have to make things bigger. Quote, or, I'll disguise myself as an intruder and use the wooden escape to kill Kakashi Hagi. Ding. There is a strong shock emotion between the 1,000 Hands pillars, reward, Naruto-style ear shun technique, Kuoin entering the hands of the 1,000 Hands pillars 1,000 Hands pillar version. Ding. Himu Shuamao has a strong, stunned, emotion, reward, earth escape, rock hidden technique. Ding. Bo Feng Shuaman produces a strong, worry, emotion, reward, one-handed seal. System space. All the undead's eyes widened almost at the same time. What kind of weird brain circuit is this? No. The corners of the 1,000 Hands pillar's mouth twitched slightly. Imp, do you know what you're talking about? Check the intruders, why do you want to attack your fellow people in the village? As Kakashi's father, Kakashi Hachiki, Tsukumo Hachiki also hurried to pick up. Stream, Kakashi doesn't seem to have anything to be sorry for you, right? He clearly knows how strong the Uchiha Ryu is. His own son, even if he fights head-on, is definitely not an opponent. What's more, this little imp may sneak attack. This worries him. As Kakashi's teacher, Bo-Feng Shuiman also echoed. That's right, Stream, you and Kakashi. Isn't the relationship very good? So what? Uchiha Ryu sneered. Who made him so useless? It took a whole day to not even investigate an intruder. And, it looks like this intruder is definitely hiding deep and dangerous. However, the attention of the 3 generations of Hokage is obviously not enough. Quote. His miscalculations of the enemy, and the stupid decisions he made. Quote. It will put the village in danger. For the sake of the big picture, for the safety of the whole village, had to make a small sacrifice for Kakashi's predecessors. Quote. The little sacrificial. Himu Shuamao and Bo-Feng Shuiman suffocated at the same time. Life is going to be gone, is this still a small sacrifice? Uchiha Ryu continued. Speaking of which, his teacher, the 4th Hokage-sama, didn't you sacrifice yourself to protect the village? Now, it's time for Kakashi-senpai to practice his will to fire. Bo-Feng Shuiman's face darkened, and he couldn't help but retort. I said, that's not the same thing at all, right? One is an active sacrifice, and the other is a passive sacrifice. Can this be the same thing? Not to mention, the current situation is far from critical enough to require Kakashi's sacrifice. Kionju, who had not spoken, couldn't help but speak. Hey, the evil imp of the Uchiha family. Don't talk to yourself there. Just tell me what your purpose is. Don't pretend like you're worried about Konoha's safety. Don't you think it's a little ridiculous? Sure enough, I can't hide it from you, a sinister 1,000-armed old ghost. Said the Uchiha Ryu with a slight play. Well, I've got a showdown. I'm in a hurry to find out the invaders, not to protect Konoha. Quote. The main reason is that I must get rid of the Black Cauldron on me quickly. The Thousand Hands Pillar said a little strangely, but now. Except for Shimura Danzo, no one thinks that you killed the Yamanaka stroke. Quote. Moreover, Shimura Tunzo not only didn't punish you, but trusted you even more. Quote. Where did you get the Black Cauldron on you? I don't have it in my body, but I have it in my heart. The Uchiha said with strong words. No, if someone dares to frame me, I must put him to death. Since Kakashi-senpai can't help me find out the murderer, then I have to let him die a little. Ding. A strong emotion arises between the 1,000-hand pillars. Reward, would escape, flower and tree realm is coming. 1,000 Hands Pillar gritted his teeth and said. Kid, you're going to be too extreme. How can you attack your fellow villagers in order to prove your innocence? Thousands of hands clasped their arms and sneered. Big brother, can you see it clearly this time? I told you earlier. This little ghost is a dangerous person with very extreme ideas and paranoia. Never a true will of fire air. I've been disguised for so long, and now I'm finally revealing my true colors. So what? Said the Uchiha Ryu with a nonchalant laugh. You are a dead man, what can you do with me? The 1,000 Hands Pillar's face turned pale, and he was silent and did not speak. It seems to be thinking about how to persuade Uchiha Ryu. 1,000 Hands hesitated for a moment and said, Little ghost, even if you have to kill another person and make things bigger. Quote. There's no need to kill that white-haired imp. The white-toothed imp is already miserable, can't he let his son be so miserable, right? Let's not have a disaster, okay? You kill someone else. Shut up. The 1,000 Hands Pillar was furious. What are you talking about? Everyone in the village is equal. Kakashi certainly shouldn't die, but there's no reason to sacrifice others either. Thousands of hands spread their hands, then what do you say? Now this little devil is determined to kill someone and make a big deal out of it. Quote. Can you persuade him to give up? 1,000 Hands suddenly suffocated. Okay. The Uchiha waved his hand. Don't make any noise. Looks like everyone is reluctant to Kakashi. Quote. For the sake of getting along for the past few days, I will give you a face. Quote. Speaking of which, Kakashi doesn't seem to have much weight. Quote. Maybe he's dead, and he still can't get the attention of the 3 generations of Hokage. Quote. I'd better kill someone else. Listen to what Uchiha Ryu said. Thousand Hands, Kimu Shuamao, and Bo Feng Shuaman all breathed a sigh of relief. Although it looks like one person is still going to die. But, anyway, Kakashi was saved. Who's going to change it? Uchiha Ryu muttered. Yes, why don't I kill Naruto Uzumaki? If the Nine-Tails Pillar Force dies, it should cause a big stir, right? When the time comes, the 3 generations of old men will definitely attach great importance to it. Ding. There is a strong shock emotion between the thousand-hand pillars. Reward, Mu Dun King Kong Jiaomu. Ding. Thousands of hands have a strong shock emotion. Reward, Shui Dun, Shui Yu Naiyuan. Ding. Bo Feng Shuaman has a strong worry emotion. Reward, sealing technique, contract seal. Ding. Uchiha Madara produces a strong angry emotion. Reward, illusion writing wheel. Uchiha Madara version. What the hell? Was taken aback by the thousand hands. No, little ghost, are you sick? I won't let you kill Kakashi Hagi, you're going to kill the Nine-Tails Pillar Force in the village. The Nine-Tails is Konoha village's top strategic weapon. If the human Pillar Force dies, the impact on Konoha can be many times more serious than the loss of a flag. Key Kakashi, I don't know. At this moment, Chinsho somewhat regretted. Why did you owe it just now? It's better to let this fool go and kill Kakashi directly. Although this idea is somewhat inconsistent with the will of fire now. But, at this moment, I really think so. Bo Feng Shui men almost fainted directly. When he saw Uchiha Ryu and Naruto clashing fists before, he really thought that Uchiha Ryu liked his son very much. Originally, is everything a lie? Madara Uchiha, who had been sitting in the corner watching the play, his face changed suddenly. Exclamation mark. This junior of his own is sick in the brain, right? Why did you suddenly remember to attack the Nine-Tails Pillar Force? If that yellow-haired boy dies, won't the Nine-Tails die with him? It will take a long time to be resurrected. When the time comes, what will I do with my own Moon-Eye plan? Suddenly, the Thousand Hands Pillar, who had been silent for a moment, spoke. Uchiha Stream. Quote. The old man thought about it carefully. Quote. If you have to kill someone today and make things bigger, then, be sure to choose Shimura Danzo. Oh, listening to the words of the Thousand Hands Pillar, the Uchiha Ryu was a little surprised. Instruct yourself to take out a Konoha high level. It seems that these words should not come from the mouth of this loving ninja god, right? Hey, big brother, said Thousand Hands. Do you know what you're talking about? Why do you want to kill Danzo? He's the current Konoha high level. At the same time, he is also the disciple of the old man. Of course, the last sentence was not said in a Thousand Hands. HMPH, snorted coldly from the Thousand Hands Pillar. Because he's screwed. Haven't you forgotten those root files? Shimura Danzo doesn't know how many of his village companions have been persecuted. Let him continue to live and continue to be in a high position, which is the most dangerous thing for Konoha. Shimura Danzo doesn't know how many of his village companions have been persecuted. Let him continue to live and continue to be in a high position, which is the most dangerous thing for Konoha. Can make the gentle first Hokage hate it so much. It can be seen how outrageous Shimura Danzo's behavior is. But when you think about it, it actually makes sense. This time, even a Thousand Hands couldn't find an angle to refute. Senju Tsuruma continued, Uchiha Stream. Quote. If you kill Shimura Danzo, you can remove a scourge for the village. Quote. At the same time, it can achieve your goal, can't it? After all, he is a high-ranking Konoha person, and if he dies, it will definitely cause an uproar. Quote. The Thousand Hands looked at the Thousand Hands Pillar with some surprise. Is this really my big brother? When did the mind become so bright? Could it be that in a critical moment, people can really burst out with unprecedented potential? Even IQ can go up. However, in the face of the brilliant proposal between the Thousand Hands Pillar, Uchiha Ryu decisively refused. No, I can't do anything to Shimura Danzo. Why? Was anxious. Because, the Uchiha said with a sincere face. Lord Tuanzang, but my savior, and the elder I respect the most. Phew, Thousand Hands couldn't help but take a sip. Don't talk nonsense, little ghost. Do you believe this kind of nonsense? Ahem, Uchiha coughed. Of course, he knew he was talking nonsense. The problem is that he is not really ready to kill one more person, make things bigger, attract the attention of the 3 generations of Hokage, and search the whole village. He's fishing. On the one hand, Kakashi and Naruto Uzumaki are all people who are very valued by this group of undead in the system space. If you threaten to kill them, you can swipe a wave of rewards. On the other hand, those 2 people are also people that Uchiha Obito values very much. If you reveal the news yourself, it is very likely that you will lure the Uchiha Obito out. That's a lot of good things. As for the Shimura Danzo, I'm sorry, people hate dogs. Who cares? Thinking of this, Uchiha Ryu shouted. I don't care. Anyway, I'm going to kill Naruto Uzumaki today. As he spoke, he walked straight out. On the other side, Uchiha Obito finally waited until night. Eager to try, he prepares to take out another dark part root and provoke his old teammate Kakashi. However, as soon as he was about to leave, he saw Heiju hurrying in. Obito, something happened. The Uchiha raised his eyebrows. What's wrong? Heiju said in a deep voice. Just now. The white doppelganger who monitored the Uchiha stream, there was news. Quote. That little ghost, desperate to prove his innocence. Quote. He believes that the current 3 generations of Hokage do not pay enough attention to this incident. Quote. So he's going to disguise himself as an intruder, to kill someone. To make things bigger. Quote. The corners of Uchiha Obito's mouth twitched slightly. You, one of the people who were framed, now want to frame the person who framed you in turn. Exclamation mark. It's the other way around. But then, he calmly sat back in his chair and sneered, it's okay. Kill, let him kill. Just save me from doing it myself. I'd like to see if Konoha can find out about my existence after he makes a big fuss. Moreover, you really deserve to be a member of the Uchiha clan. Just to prove yourself, you're ready to attack your fellow villagers in the village. It seems that the so-called will of fire in his heart is also a joke. Interesting, really interesting. Yes, Black Jedi nodded. Deta Hagi Kakashi. Quote. It doesn't matter. Quote. Nani. Uchiha Obito stood up abruptly. With a gaze full of murderous intent, he stared at Heiju deadly. Said word by word. You mean, the person that the little ghost is going to kill is Kakashi Hachiki? Kuro jerked. Yes. Quote. But you don't have to be so excited. Quote. After all, you even killed the Wave Feng Shui Gate, do you still care about a Kakashi Hagi? Besides, isn't Kakashi the murderer who killed Rin Nohara? It's nice to let the Uchiha kill him. Quote. HMPH, what do you know? Uchiha Obito snorted coldly. Kakashi, that piece of shit, sooner or later, I'll kill him with my own hands. But before that, I'll let him see for himself that my Eye of the Moon project succeeds. Let's go, take me to Uchiha Ryu, I'm going to stop him. Heiju nodded first, but suddenly he stopped again. Hey, there's new news from Baiju. That imp doesn't feel like Kakashi has enough cards. Quote. He's changed his target. Phew, Uchiha Obito breathed a sigh of relief. But, before he could sit down again, Black Jedi continued. His new target is the Nine Tails Pillar Force. Note, in the previous chapter, some of what the protagonist said was deliberately said to the Hidden Elders, and some were said in the system space, which may not be written too clearly, so everyone can understand. Ding. Uchiha Obito has a strong anger, emotion, reward, Psychic Nine Tails. Psychic Nine Tails. Founded by Madara Uchiha, the method of controlling the Nine Tails can force the Nine Tails to sign a psychic contract. Nani. Uchiha Obito's eyes widened suddenly. Full of disbelief. It's not. That little imp has a sick brain. Does he even know what he's doing? As soon as your mind is hot, you're ready to attack the Nine Tails Pillar Force. Is he really a ninja of Konoha? Question mark quote. This kind of thinking and practice. It's too extreme, isn't it? It's more like a traitor than me. Heiju's face was a little anxious. Now is not the time to talk about this. He's already out of the Uchiha clan station, and it seems that he's really going to attack the Nine Tails Pillar Force. You have to stop him. If he really lets him kill the Nine Tails Pillar Force, the Eye of the Moon plan. Uchiha Obito couldn't help but burst into a foul mouth. Lao Su is a traitor, an intruder. Now you want to protect the Nine Tails Pillar Force for Konoha Village. What Sao Dan? Uchiha Ryu, this fool little imp, you wait for me. Uchiha Obito was reluctant in his heart. But there was no way. In order to ensure the Eye of the Moon plan, he could only pinch his nose and admit it. Suppressing his anger, he went to the crime scene. On the other side, Uchiha Ryu unleashed the second Hokage's secret technique of perception. It didn't take much effort to find Naruto Uzumaki's trail by a river. Although it is said that the Uchiha Ryu helped him find a long-term meal ticket last time, Naruto still seems to be more inclined to be self-reliant. At this time, I was fishing by the river. Hearing the sound of breaking wind behind him, the little fox turned his head a little suspiciously. At a glance, I saw the Uchiha stream, and I was overjoyed. Big brother, it's you. You're coming to see me. The clear eyes are full of surprises. For this handsome big brother who has touched his fist, he likes and worships from the bottom of his heart. It's me. The Uchiha smiled and touched Naruto's little head. Shish. Catch your fish well, don't scare them away. Quote. As he spoke, he nudged Naruto's body with his back to him. Naruto Uzumaki didn't feel anything wrong in the slightest, and turned away very obediently. Staring at the water, I seemed to be eager to catch a fish quickly. In this way, I can treat my big brother to a meal of grilled fish. Looking at Naruto Uzumaki, who was defenseless against himself, a cold smile erupted into the corners of Uchiha Ryu's mouth. At the same time, a kunai suddenly appeared in the palm of his hand. The moment kunai raised it, the killing intent in Uchiha Ryu's eyes flashed. Then, stab forward, system space. When the undead saw this, they were all furious. Ding. Strong. Anger. Between the Thousand Hands Pillars. Reward. Immortal Mode. Thousand Hands Pillar version. Ding. 1,000 hands generate strong. Anger. Emotions. Reward. Thor's sword use experience. Ding. Madara Uchiha generates strong. Anger. Emotions. Reward. Dirt reincarnation. Solution. Ding. Bo Feng Shui Gate generates strong. Anger. Emotions. Reward. Sealing technique. Ghoul sealed. The immortal pattern between the Thousand Hands Pillars. Hearing the system prompt, the corners of Uchiha Ryu's mouth rose slightly. It's really rewarding. Stop, little ghost. Clenched his fists violently between the Thousand Hand Pillars. Bo Fengshauman's eyes were split, and he couldn't help but shout, don't. Uchiha stream. Naruto is just a child. But I'm calling you big brother. Although said, before his death, Bo Feng Shui Gate had a resounding name and strong strength. But, at this moment, he is just an undead without any power. Seeing that his poor son was threatened with his life, he was completely unable to save him. I can only try to play the emotional card and awaken the conscience of the Uchiha stream. But, it didn't work. Uchiha stream's killing intent is so resolute. Move sharply, without any hesitation. Naruto. Bo Feng Shuiman exclaimed in sorrow. My heart was full of pain. Naruto, the child, was kidnapped by the mysterious masked man just after he was born. Moreover, he lost his parents on the same day. Was also sealed in his body by his own father, who personally sealed the 9 tails in his body. It's already bitter enough. I didn't expect. Now I'm going to die at a young age. Thinking of this, Bo Feng Shuiman closed his eyes in despair. I can't bear to see the bloody scene that follows. And yet, just before kunai was about to stab Naruto's body, a loud shout came from the void. Uchiha Ryu, stop. A spatial vortex bloomed between Naruto and Uchiha Flow. Uchiha Obito, who suddenly appeared, urge the iron chain in your hand, and fly the kunai in the hand of the Uchiha stream. Obito's face hidden under the mask is full of fear. Exclamation mark. Fortunately, I came in time. Just a little bit. The 9 tails pillar force is about to hang. This Uchiha stream, I really dare to think and dare to do it. However, just as Uchiha Obito breathed a sigh of relief, a strange buzzing sound sounded from behind. Not good. Uchiha Obito's pupils shrank suddenly, instinctively feeling bad. However, he had just picked off the kunai of the Uchiha Ryu with an iron chain. At that moment, it must be materialized. Now that I perceive the danger, I immediately want to blur. But it's a little too late after all. Spiral pill. The Uchiha stream, behind the Uchiha Obito is the wooden clone he ambushed in advance. At this time, he was holding an azure chakra light pill in his hand. It hit Obito's back hard. Ha! Uchiha Stream's body, the corners of his mouth slightly raised. Intruder, you've finally appeared. The plan went so smoothly that it was a bit beyond his imagination. It's so easy to take the bait. All I can say is, it's Kenji Uchiha. But whoever has a little brain, he will not have no brains at all. It's all complicated. In fact, it only happens in the blink of an eye. In the face of this sudden change, the eyes of the undead in the system space widened almost at the same time. Ding! There is a strong shock emotion between the 1,000-hand pillars, reward, high-level immortal physique. Ding! 1,000 hands generate a strong shock emotion, reward, space affinity plus 20%. Ding! Bo Feng Shui Gate produces a strong shock emotion, reward, Tai Chi spiral pill. How? What's going on? 1,000 hands was taken aback. Right wheel eyes. It's from the Uchiha clan. The eyes of the 1,000 hands narrowed slightly, and analyzed, is this man in black an intruder? Do you say, everything that this little imp Uchiha Ryu has done is to fish out this intruder? But how does he know that if he strikes Naruto Uzumaki, the intruder will appear? Bo Feng Shuiman's pupils shrank suddenly. This man. I know, he is the murderer who created the Nine Tails Knight back then. At first, I thought it was Madara Uchiha's senior, but now it seems that it's not. This person is capable of manipulating the Nine Tails, and he also has extremely strange spatial techniques, and he is extremely hostile to Konoha. Quote. Stream. Gotta stop him from getting close to Naruto. At this time, Bo Feng Shuiman only had Naruto, invaders, and Konoha safe in his mind. As for how the Uchiha Ryu learned his spiral pill out of thin air, he couldn't care about this kind of detail at all. Outside, the Uchiha Obito got up from the ground. The lethality of the spiral pill is actually quite good. However, he has the presence of intercolumnar cells in his body, and his defense is quite strong. The Uchiha Obito who was attacked by a sneak attack. His eyes were extremely gloomy as he stared at the Uchiha Ryu in front of him. Feel the pain behind it. He said indifferently. Kid, you're good. I thought I would never get hurt in this false world again. Quote. I didn't expect to be hurt by you today. At this moment, Uchiha Obito's spirit was a little trance-like. If I'm not mistaken, last time injured, it's also in Konoha this place. If you hurt yourself, it's also the technique of spiral pills. Even the gap is quite similar. It's all in the moment of your own materialization. The difference is, the person who hurt himself last time was called Bo Feng Shuiman, a legend in the ninja world, with a golden flash. This time, it's Uchiha Ryu, a previously unknown descendant of the same clan. The last time he was injured, it was because he killed the Nine Tails Pillar Force and released the Nine Tails. And this time he was injured to protect the Nine Tails Pillar Force. I have to say, life is really full of drama. It's dramatic to believe it's true. At this moment, Obito's heart even swelled with a strong sense of absurdity. Ding! Uchiha Obito has a strong, ridiculous, emotion, reward, sealing technique, Phantom Dragon 9 seals. Uchiha Ryu sneered, I don't know what to say. Quote. Intruder, it's Konoha Dark who is asking you questions. Quote. Tell me your name, where you came from, and why you're here. Ha! Uchiha Obito chuckled. What an arrogant little ghost. My name. Seeing this riding wheel, don't you know where I came from? Uchiha Lu's face was cold, and he said in a deep voice. In my memory, the Uchiha clan has never had such a number one person as you. Quote. Maybe your riding wheel eye is just transplanted. Just like my captain, Kakashi Hachiki. Hey, hee. Uchiha Obito hid his face a little nervously and laughed wildly. Kakashi Hachiki, does he deserve to be compared to me? But you're right about one thing. Quote, I'm a person who shouldn't exist. In this false world, everything is false. System space. Looking at the somewhat crazy Uchiha Obito, his face was extremely solemn. Guys, do you see? This person in front of you is the most paranoid and dangerous type of Uchiha. I have completely fallen into the evil way. The existence of such a character will inevitably bring disaster to Konoha and even the entire ninja world. Uchiha Ryu, do whatever it takes to kill him. Outside, Uchiha Obito continued. As for the purpose of my presence here, there's no particular purpose, just to protect this yellow-haired idiot behind me. Obito's voice was extremely cold. If it weren't for the fear of ruining his cold image, he really wanted to grab this fool in front of him and ask, "Don't you know why Lao Su is here? Isn't it all because you little ghost, the brain circuits are too weird? Just to prove the innocence of a person who doesn't matter at all, blatantly attack Konoha's people. This is what a normal Konoha ninja should do. Have you fed all your will to fire to the dogs?" However, Uchiha Ryu is obviously even more shameless than he imagined. At this time, he blinked his big eyes and asked suspiciously, "Oh, so, someone wants to attack the Nine Tails Pillar Force. Intruder, how did you know about this? As a Konoha shadow, I don't even know." As the strongest Uchiha fighter, Senju couldn't help but praise madly at this time. "It's got to be you, evil Uchiha imp." The corners of the mouth between the thousand-hand pillars twitched slightly. "Lu, you are talking nonsense with your eyes open like this, won't it hurt in your heart?" Himu Shuamao couldn't help but complain, "It's a miserable intruder. Not only to be fished, but also to be blamed." Quote, sure enough, the corners of Uchiha Obito's mouth twitched slightly. The voice has also become a little weird. "Oh, Uchiha Ryu, are you sure you don't know?" He almost laughed at it. How did this little ghost have the face to say that he didn't know? "Isn't it you, a little imp with extreme thoughts, who wants to assassinate the Nine Tails Pillar Force?" "Of course I don't know," replied Uchiha as a matter of course. "But now I know. In my opinion, you fool is a dangerous person who wants to attack the Nine Tails Pillar Force, right?" Obito was suddenly suffocated, and his heart was shocked and angry. At this time, Naruto finally came back to his senses from the shock and muttered, "Big brother, what the hell is going on?" The Uchiha Ryu shook his head. 118, "My stupid Audito, don't you understand? This is an ambitious intruder, and he has already killed a person in Konoha. Quote, now, it's on you. Come to me, only Big Brother can protect you." Naruto Uzumaki, despite his young age, also seems to be aware of the danger. "I'm going to run to the Uchiha Ryu right away." Looking at Naruto, who was fooled so easily, Uchiha Obito snorted a little annoyed. Seeing that Naruto was about to approach that dangerous imp, Uchiha Obito hurriedly stretched out his hand to stop it. At the same time, he shouted in a deep voice, "Naruto Uzumaki, don't come near him. He's an extremely dangerous madman. The one who wants to kill you, it's him." Ha! A mocking smile broke into the corners of Uchiha Ryu's mouth. An intruder with a hidden head and tail dares to openly frame the glorious Konoha shadows. Don't you think that's ridiculous? Even if I put aside my identity as a shadow, there's no way I'm going to make a move on Naruto. After all, he's my dear friend, brother. I'd rather hurt myself than let him be hurt in the slightest. Uchiha Obito's forehead jumped. "I feel like I'm not feeling good. Are you a ninja or an actor? Can you play a little more like it? Doesn't your conscience hurt when you talk like that?" Seeing that Uchiha Obito didn't speak, Uchiha Ryu continued to speak. "Intruder, why don't we let Naruto make his own choice? Quote, look who he trusts more." Quote, as soon as his words fell, Naruto shouted without hesitation, "Of course I believe in Big Brother. Big Brother, save me." As he spoke, he tried to rush towards the Uchiha stream again. "Yaga!" Uchiha Obito scolded angrily with some grief and indignation. Hurriedly reached out to stop it. For a moment, Obito was a little confused. What am I doing? Not only do they have to protect their Nine Tails Pillar Force for Konoha yet. The point is, this little imp still doesn't believe in himself. I'm determined to run to the fool who attempted murder on the other side. Uchiha Ryu was keenly aware of Obito's wandering mind. With one hand, a vine suddenly poked out from his left arm and rolled towards Naruto Uzumaki, trying to snatch it up. HMPH. Uchiha Obito snorted coldly. Coming back to your senses immediately. He wanted to absorb Naruto into the Kamui space, so that he could be absolutely safe. However, absorbing others is even slower than absorbing oneself. The Uchiha Ryu won't give him this time. Uchiha Obito is helpless. I had to use the iron chain in my hand to face the Uchiha stream's wooden escape. Bang! Two strangely shaped weapons collided together in the electric light. There is a huge sound of golden iron, followed by Uchiha Obito's body flew backwards violently. Under the mask, his face changed wildly. This little ghost has so much power. But that's not all. What's even more terrifying is Uchiha Ryu keenly grasped the opponent's floating state. Above the right hand, a dazzling golden light suddenly extended. With an extremely tricky angle, he brazenly stabbed Uchiha Obito's abdomen. Thor's sword. Not good. Uchiha Obito immediately sensed that something was wrong. I had to blur my body and avoid this stab. The sword of Thor, along with Uchiha Ryu's body, passed directly through Uchiha Obito's body. Although he successfully avoided this shocking blow, there was not the slightest joy on Uchiha Obito's face. Because Naruto Uzumaki, after all, fell into the hands of Uchiha Stream. System Space. Seeing the two of them fighting like lightning, the undead also enjoyed watching it. The Thousand Hands Pillar and the Bo Feng Shui Gate are overjoyed. Great, Naruto is safe. Ding, there is a strong ecstasy mood between the Thousand Hand Pillars. Reward, Immortal Law Ming Shenman. Ding, Bo Feng Shui Gate produces a strong ecstasy emotion. Reward, Immortal Mode. Bo Feng Shui Gate version. System prompt. The host has been detected to have previously unlocked the Immortal Mode Thousand Hands Pillar Edition, and the reward will be automatically fused and upgraded. Immortal Mode duration plus 20%. Senju became very interested in the Kamui of Uchiha Obito. That was just now. Illusion. That's not right. It should be some kind of very weird spatio-temporal technique. This intruder is really not simple. In the outside world, seeing that the Nine Tails Pillar Force finally fell into the hands of Uchiha Lu. Uchiha Obito's face is iron blue. I took so much effort that I didn't even hesitate to expose myself. Ultimately, nothing has changed. The life of the Nine Tails Pillar Force is once again in the hands of that fool imp. What if he does kill Naruto Uzumaki? Thinking of this, Uchiha Obito hurriedly shouted eagerly. Bridge Bean Sacks. Uchiha Ryu, listen to me. Don't act rashly. Isn't the reason why you want to attack Naruto Uzumaki just to find out who killed Yamanaka Stroke? I admit, I really killed the Stroke in the mountains. When he said this, Uchiha Obito was quite aggrieved. It stands to reason that as a person who frames others zero, the coolest and most rewarding time should be the time to take the initiative to uncover the mystery. I didn't expect it, did I? I actually killed the mountain Stroke. This should be his line. How inexplicably it became, I admit. Although it seems that these two sentences express almost the same meaning. It's all self-destructing. But, in other words, the state of mind is still compelling, and it is completely different. Yourself now. I'm being pinched by this imp. In fact, until now, Obito has not fully figured it out. How the hell did things get to where they are now? Isn't your original plan wonderful? However, row is that he is already very angry and admitted. The Uchiha didn't let him go in the slightest. I don't understand what you said earlier. Quote. There's no way I'm going to do anything to Naruto. Quote. But isn't it nonsense that you admit that you killed the mountain Stroke? There's more to you than that, right? Who the hell are you? Sneaking into Konoha and approaching the Nine Tails Pillar Force, what is the ulterior motive? Seeing that Uchiha Obito's mood was abnormal, he was a little nervous. The corners of Uchiha Ryu's mouth rose slightly. Place your hand on Naruto Uzumaki's head. This action, in Naruto's eyes, was appeased. But, in the eyes of Uchiha Obito, it's a threat to the red fruit. Sure enough, the Uchiha said with a smile. You'd better be honest. Otherwise, it's hard to say what will happen next. Quote. 1.5 System Space. The undead who saw this bizarre scene also had different expressions. There were black lines on his face between the thousands of hands, and he couldn't help but complain. It's worthy of being an inherently evil Uchiha imp, it's despicable. Until now, he even pretended to threaten this intruder with Naruto. Uchiha Izuna couldn't help but speak. As a Konoha ninja, you actually used your own human pillar power and life to threaten the enemy. What kind of magical brain circuit is this? Kimu Shuamao muttered in a low voice, the most outrageous thing is. The threat seems to have been quite successful. Quote, it's been a long time. Bo Feng Shuaman's eyes narrowed slightly, and he said in a deep voice. This person is obviously coveting the 9 tails in Naruto's body. Several years have passed, and he still hasn't given up. It seems that there must be a great conspiracy. And, for some reason, this mysterious masked man always gives me a strange sense of familiarity. Quote, I have a hunch that he really is. It's going to be pretty impressive. Stream. Anyway, you must find a way to uncover his true colors today. Chapter 51. The corners of Uchiha Ryu's mouth rose slightly. Dark Dao. Sure enough. It's the 4th Hokage. Bo Feng Shui Gate is still quite keen. Speaking of which, he has only had a two-sided relationship with the masked man. One in person, one time to watch the game. The time is very short. But some clues have been found. If it weren't for the truth that the masked man is Uchiha Obito, it would be too incredible. I'm afraid that now, Bo Feng Shui Men has already guessed it. Imp. You. Facing the blatant threat of Uchiha Ryu. Uchiha Obito is shocked and angry. The little ghost in front of him was far more cunning than he imagined. However, before the Uchiha Obito could clear his mind. Originally, Naruto Uzumaki, who was held in the arms of Uchiha Stream. Suddenly, I looked back with some curiosity. Just this glance. I immediately saw the front of the masked man. The familiar mask, and the familiar single riding wheel. Of course Naruto Uzumaki didn't know him. But, the 9 tails in his body knows. The 9-tailed demon fox, it will never forget. 3 years ago, it was the masked man in front of him who forcibly controlled it with a kaleidoscope riding wheel. That's the shame of its 9-tailed uncle. 9 tails emotions instantly got out of control. Oh 2. Orange-red chakra gushed out of Naruto's body uncontrollably. Around Naruto Uzumaki's body, strange bubbles were formed. The whole person seems to be dressed in the cloak of a tailed beast. At the same time, Naruto's originally clear eyes turned into a terrifying vertical pupil. Teeth and nails are sharpened. Broke free from the arms of Uchiha Ryu at once. 4-clawed ground, glaring at the Uchiha Obito on the opposite side. Between the teeth, a few murderous words were squeezed out vaguely. Ho. Kill. 9 tails. Uchiha Obito sneered disdainfully. Still so manic, stupid. He has a kaleidoscope riding wheel eye, and he has been guided by Madara Uchiha. The tailed beast was nothing more than a plaything in his eyes. Compared to the 9 tails, the Uchiha Obito is obviously more afraid of the Uchiha flow next to him. Roaring, was ridiculed like this, and the 9-tailed demon fox was even more angry. I'm about to pounce on the Uchiha Obito. At this moment, the Uchiha Ryu suddenly spoke. Hey, fox, be quiet. Quote, as he spoke, he stroked Naruto Uzumaki's head with his hand. The chakra of the 9 tails is so scorching. However, the palm of the Uchiha Ryu was wrapped in a layer of wooden chakra. Not only will it not be burned by it, but it will make the 9 tails really quiet a little. You're no match for him, leave it to me. Quote, Naruto Uzumaki tilted his head and looked directly at the Uchiha stream. In the violent pupils, a touch of human wisdom flashed. A few days ago, the 9 tails had come into contact with the Uchiha Ryu and knew that this little ghost had both the Sharingan and the wood escape. Immediately after, the 9 tails turned out to be much quieter. Although he was still staring at the Uchiha Obito opposite, he was no longer so manic. Seeing that the Uchiha Ryu actually calmed down the 9 tails, a flash of surprise flashed in Uchiha Obito's eyes. Interesting, really funny. Quote, in Konoha village, the 2 guys he was most interested in seemed to get together. Yes, the corners of Uchiha Ryu's mouth rose slightly. It's really interesting. Quote, why did Naruto Uzumaki immediately lose control of the 9 tails as soon as he saw you? Intruder, if I'm not mistaken. Quote, in the 9 tails rebellion 3 years ago, you were the real culprit behind the scenes, right? And, even after all these years, you've always coveted the 9 tails, right? Ha, Uchiha Obito chuckled. There was a hint of praise in his voice. Uchiha stream. Quote, you're so witty. That's right. 3 years ago, I was the one who released the 9 tails and killed the 4 generations of Hokage. Quote, This beast of the nine tails is indeed my target. Quote. Roar. Nine Tails seemed to be a little manic when he heard this. Good. The Uchiha nodded. You're finally willing to tell the truth. Quote. So, go ahead. Quote. Who the hell are you, and why are you framing me? What is the ulterior motive for staring at the nine tails? The Uchiha spread his hands, although I know you're stalling for time. Quote. But, it doesn't matter. Quote. Now that we've said that. Quote. Then I'm just getting what I was supposed to do. Quote. Heiju, who was lurking in the shadows, couldn't help but take a sip. Opening square bracket, closing square bracket. Uchiha Obito, this idiot. It seems that I finally remembered the original purpose. After going around in circles for half a day, I finally began to officially solicit. Phew. Uchiha Obito let out a sigh of relief, and said quietly. First of all, tell me who I am. Quote. My name, Madara Uchiha. Quote. Little ghost, if you really talk about it, you should call me an ancestor, right? System space. Almost all the undead, at the same time, turned their heads and looked at Madara Uchiha in the corner. Interesting. It's really fun. If the one outside is Madara Uchiha, then this one here is. The corners of Madara Uchiha's mouth twitched slightly. Both. It's all up to me to do it. Uncle Ben is already dead. A rat who came out of nowhere dares to pretend to be my name. As a matter of fact, from the moment when Obito prepares to introduce yourself, Madara Uchiha sensed something was wrong. Although, let Obito walk the world under the name of Uchiha Madara. This incident was originally planned by him. However, the situation of the Uchiha stream is special. Pretending to be Madara Uchiha in front of Uchiha Ryu is also too good. Ding. Uchiha Madara produces a strong egg pain, emotion, reward, kaleidoscope riding wheel eye pupil power enhanced. Uchiha Izuna was very proud and smiled. I didn't expect it. Quote. Big brother has been dead for so many years, and someone will borrow your name. Quote. It can be seen how famous you were back then. Thousand Hands sneered. No matter how loud it is also notorious. Who is a good guy who would pretend to be Madara Uchiha? Yaga. Uchiha Izuna was furious. What did you say? Seeing the resurgence of the rivalry, the Thousand Hands pillar frowned and stopped. Oops, don't make any noise. Keep listening to what the masked man has to say. Quote. Outside, Uchiha Obito after introducing himself. He immediately stared at the face of the Uchiha stream. I hoped to see an incredulous, horrified, and even frightened look on his face. This is also the usual routine when Uchiha Obito recruits others. Directly declare that he is Madara Uchiha, and use this name that once shocked the ninja world to take the lead. Coupled with his own riding wheel eyes, and the mysterious time-space technique. Most people are bluffed, but this time, Uchiha Obito clearly miscalculated. The Uchiha Ryu's face was completely devoid of the kind of expression he wanted to see. Instead, it brought a touch of mock. I'm starting to wonder what to say again. Quote. Your strength, if you can be Madara Uchiha. Quote. Isn't that Lao Tzu a thousand-handed pillar? When Uchiha Obito heard this, his face suddenly darkened. I used to be invincible, but just now, I was deflated by this little ghost. All of a sudden, this little devil was contemptible. Seemingly, if you want to recruit this arrogant imp into your command, you must first subdue him. Thinking of this, Uchiha Obito sneered and said, Arrogant little ghost, do you really think I can't help you? Even if you go up with the nine tails, why should I be afraid of Madara Uchiha? In the left sleeve of Obito, a black rod suddenly poked out. Straight to Naruto Uzumaki. This is a special forbearance that is generated by yin and yang, and it has a strong suppressive effect on chakra. The effect is surprisingly good against tailed beasts. Naruto Uzumaki, who was temporarily controlled by the nine tails, was originally lying on the ground. Watch the play well. Who would have thought that Uchiha Obito would be so unmartial and not martial arts, and he would shoot when he said it? Caught off guard, I was almost nailed by a black rod. Thanks to the Uchiha stream's quick reaction, an instantaneous jutsu rushed to his side and threw him flying. Ha! A mockery lifted the corners of Uchiha Obito's mouth. I know you were all pretending before. You're the one you're waiting for. As he spoke, his big hand stretched out and grabbed Uchiha Ryu suddenly. A spatial vortex was generated in the palm of his hand. The bodies of the two of them immediately became distorted. Uchiha Obito, this is what he wants to do once and for all, and directly grab the Uchiha stream into his own Kamui space. He's already figured out, left and right can't be good today. It's better to directly take the Uchiha stream and the Nine Tails Pillar Force away. Got it. The moment the palm of his hand touched the Uchiha Ryu, the corners of Obito's mouth rose slightly. But soon, he noticed that the corners of Uchiha Ryu's mouth were also slightly raised. The art of wooden cuttings. A despicable wooden thorn stabbed straight into Uchiha Obito's body. Uchiha Ryu knows that the moment Uchiha Obito absorbs others, it must be materialized. Uchiha Obito spat in some annoyance. I didn't see him seal at all. But, anyway, cuttings are all techniques that can be instantly fatal, and they must not be resisted. Uchiha Obito had no choice but to give up the absorption that had already been carried out halfway. Turn your body and instantly blur it. Uchiha Ryu's wooden thorns stabbed into the air. But it also avoids the risk of being sucked into another dimension. System space. Seeing this scene, the undead all felt a pang in their hearts. Thousand Hands frowned and said, what a weird technique. Almost completely invincible. If you don't have the same mastery of the time-space technique, I'm afraid you won't be able to deal with it at all. Bo Feng Shuiman also said in a deep voice, I fought with this person 3 years ago. With the technique of Flying Thunder God, I was lucky enough to defeat him. Now it seems that his time and space skills are more proficient than 3 years ago. It's hard to deal with. However, it seems that he is determined to win the upper class. When he has this kind of offensive intent, it's easy to show flaws. If he really wants to run, then there is no way to do it. Uchiha Obito's first absorption plan failed. He was not discouraged, but sneered. Treacherous imps. The reaction is fast. However, even if you can protect yourself, can you protect the Nine Tails Pillar Force? As he spoke, he rushed towards Naruto again. Then give it a try. The Uchiha stream was also not to be outdone. An instant came to Naruto Uzumaki's side, and his hands clasped together. The art of the wooden escape list. In front of him, a hard tree suddenly appeared. The trees quickly coalesced, and in just 2 breaths, they created a wooden shield shaped like a fanged grimace. Protect yourself and Naruto Uzumaki underneath. This is the technique of the Thousand Hands Pillar. Back then, with this technique, the Thousand Hands Pillar even defended against Madara's mighty Susanengu's slash. The defense is quite terrifying. Hee, a little ghost is a little ghost after all. Uchiha Obito's face showed a hint of ecstasy. I actually put myself and the Nine Tails Pillar Force together in a confined space. Think it's safe. Aren't you waiting to be caught by me? The so-called defense, in the face of his divine power absorption, has no meaning at all. His palms are on top of the shield. In the next moment, space distorted. The huge ranking technique, along with the 2 people encapsulated inside, was all absorbed into the Shinwei space. Got it. The corners of Uchiha Obito's mouth rose slightly. However, just as he was about to retreat, his eyes suddenly widened. Because, not far away, the ground suddenly cracked. The figures of Uchiha Ryu and Naruto Uzumaki reappear. Uchiha Obito's face darkened. What a cunning imp. Did you run away from the ground? The corners of Uchiha Ryu's mouth rose slightly. He tossed for so long, of course, not just to play with the soil. Just now, he had already planted a thunder in the Kamui space, in the Uchiha Obito, unknowingly. And the Uchiha Ryu suddenly grinned, intruder. Now, it's your turn to run away, right? The reinforcements I'm waiting for have arrived. Uchiha Obito's face changed slightly. Really, there was a sound of breaking the air. A white-haired figure, a few ups and downs, landed on the side of the Uchiha stream. Seeing this familiar and unfamiliar figure, Uchiha Obito's face immediately became gloomy. There are too many inexplicable complex emotions between him and Kakashi. I really don't want to meet now if I can. As soon as Kakashi Hachiki arrived, he immediately asked in a deep voice. Flo, are you alright? Is that person an intruder? Also, why is Naruto here? How did the 9 tails? The Uchiha spread his hands and complained. If you come a little slower, you might have to collect the bodies for both of us. That's right, that person is the intruder. Not only did he kill Yamanaka Stroke, but now he has his sights on Naruto. The target should be the 9 tails inside Naruto's body. If I hadn't arrived in time, I'm afraid Naruto would have been poisoned. I don't know why. This kind of lie, he said more and more smoothly. Nani? The 2 former teammates exclaimed at the same time. Kakashi's face became extremely solemn. Staring at the masked man opposite, abominable intruder, how dare you attack Naruto? Ding. Uchiha Obito has a strong, angry and corrupt, mood, reward, yin and yang escape elementary. Yaga. The corners of Uchiha Obito's mouth twitched slightly, and he scolded angrily with some anger. Kakashi, you idiot. The first to attack Naruto Uzumaki was that fool kid next to you. You. Kakashi Hachiki frowned slightly. Uchiha Ryu is going to attack Naruto Uzumaki, this is the most critical message. It was directly filtered out by him as garbage. How could he believe this kind of nonsense? But, I don't know why, the mysterious intruder in front of him, the masked man, looked angry at this time. And the tone of voice, or even a salutation for him, all made him feel an inexplicable sense of familiarity. Do you mean, this person, I know? This moment. Kakashi Hachiki's mind suddenly had such a strange thought. It's not good. Uchiha Obito's heart sank, as the most familiar Wang Zhao, Kakashi's old teammate. As soon as he looked at Kakashi's expression, he knew that the other party was afraid that he already had some suspicions in his heart. I was too out of shape just now, and I accidentally revealed a flaw. It looks like you have to pay more attention in the future. If you do get your true identity, that's a big deal. Uchiha Obito's eyes narrowed slightly, and he was thinking like this in his heart. Just listen to the Uchiha stream fanning the flames. Kakashi-senpai, do you know this person? It always feels like he's familiar with you. Quote. Every time I mention your name in front of him, he says a word of rubbish. Quote. Looks, he has a deep grudge against you. Oh, Kakashi Hachiki heard this, his pupils shrank slightly. The shocked gaze fell on the masked man again. Not. Oh, Kakashi Hachiki heard this, his pupils shrank slightly. The shocked gaze fell on the masked man again. This little imp, the corners of Uchiha Obito's mouth twitched slightly. But the surface is still pretending to be calm. I'm afraid that Kakashi will see something. Kakashi Hachiki stared at the masked man for a long time. Suddenly, the cells were activated by thunder, and the body turned into an afterimage. Almost instantly, he came to the masked man. A big hand stretched out and grabbed straight at the other person's mask. Innocent, Uchiha Obito sneered. A sinister black rod poked out of his sleeve again, poking straight at Kakashi. Kakashi was not surprised, and immediately suffered from it. However, the seemingly bladeless black rod was in touch with kunai at the moment. It was smashed directly. Quote ? Quote. Kakashi Hachiki was shocked. Extremely embarrassed, he rolled over to avoid being stabbed. Hurry up and use the teleportation technique to pull away temporarily. His face was extremely solemn, and he said in a deep voice, Stream, you use your clone to take Naruto away first. Then come with me to deal with this masked man. Today, I will not unmask him. The Uchiha shrugged his shoulders and turned his head to look at Naruto beside him. Fox, are you going back by yourself, or will I give you a ride with the sealing technique? Roar. The 9 tails let out a low roar of annoyance. It seems to be venting his frustration. But the next moment, he slowly withdrew his chakra and returned to the seal. As for little Naruto, because of the 307th, forced-tailed beast, he had already fainted at this time. Seeing this, Uchiha Ryu smiled. Directly separate a wooden clone and take it away. The main body instantly turned behind the masked man, blocking his way. The Uchiha Ryu shouted proudly, rats with hidden heads and tails. You can't leave today. If you know each other, take off your mask yourself. Don't be ashamed. Uchiha Obito scoffed. Is it just you two shit? Kakashi's face was solemn, and he slowly lifted his forehead, revealing the scarlet 3-hooked jade riding wheel. Seeing this eye that belonged to him, Uchiha Obito's heart trembled, and his expression became extremely complicated. Kakashi didn't have that many ideas, and said in a deep voice, do it. The corners of Uchiha Ryu's mouth rose slightly, let's make a battle arena of my own first. Quote. Then, his hands clasped together. The wood escape tree realm is born. Rumble. This time, the momentum is even stronger than the last time when the Uchiha clan was stationed. Because, this is originally a wooded area by the river. There are a lot of ready-made trees. There is no need to make it out of thin air at all. All you need to do is inject chakras into those existing trees and make them work for you. Those trees that were originally growing normally immediately glowed with rich vitality after being infused with a massive amount of chakra by the Uchiha stream. Start unreasonable and wanton growth. Almost instantly, the entire riverside was turned into a sea of trees. Thick tree trunks dance wildly in the air, sweeping the Uchiha Obito all over the world. Ding! Kakashi Hagi has a strong, shocked, emotion, reward, thunder escape double thunder shock. Kakashi Hachiki was just about to launch an attack when he saw this earth-shattering scene. His mouth opened violently. This is a technique that a little imp who has just graduated from a ninja school can unleash. Didn't the 3 generations of Hokage-sama say that this little ghost has just awakened Mudun? And, I look at the wooden escape of Tianzang, it doesn't seem to be like this. Quote. What's more, to cause such a terrifying effect, in addition to having a deep enough understanding of Mudun. Quote. What's more, a lot of chakra. It's just that the chakra needed for this blow, I'm afraid I'll have to drain 8 of me. Uchiha stream's move is too terrifying. So much so that Kakashi, who had a lot of combat experience, was directly stunned for a while. Of course, maybe he thinks, you don't need yourself at all. It was already the second time that the Uchiha Obito had seen this technique pouted. It's a tough technique. Quote, it's a pity, it's useless for me. Saying that, he didn't dodge at all. Directly blur your body and let those trees pass through your body. Nani? Direct. Passed through. What kind of move is this? The first time he saw this magical technique, Kakashi's pupils shrank suddenly. He originally thought that the Uchiha stream unleashed such a terrifying wood escape technique, and the overall situation was definitely decided. I didn't expect. The opponent's technique is even more weird. Moreover, even his riding wheel I can't see through it. Kakashi's brow twisted into a pimple. After a while, some unbelieving people shouted, I'll try it. Chakra clings to the soles of his feet, and Kakashi sprints straight into the tree realm. Today's Uchiha stream, for the micro-operation of the birth of the tree world, has reached a higher level. A large number of trees, only to the soil attack. For Kakashi, it didn't have the slightest effect. Kakashi Hachiki stepped on the trees and quickly approached Uchiha Obito. His big hand stretched out and grabbed the Uchiha Obito mask again. Ha! Uchiha Obito sneered, innocent. This time, his body, because he had to dodge Mudun's attack, was in the void. So, he couldn't use the black stick to fend off Kakashi like he had done before. However, it doesn't matter. This time, the head is also blurred, and it's over. Really, the next moment, Kakashi Hachiki was stunned to discover. With his own hand, it looks like he has caught that mask. But it doesn't feel like it should be. His big hand goes straight through the right side of the masked man's head and out from the left side. It's like grabbing a piece of nothingness. At the same time, Kakashi hears the masked man's sarcastic words. Kakashi Hachiki, it's up to you to want to take off my, too. However, halfway through the conversation, the masked man's pupils widened suddenly. Nani? Inside the mysterious Kamui space, Uchiha Obito's head, as well as part of his body, all appeared here. The so-called bokeh. In fact, it is to move part of the body into this mysterious space, leaving only a shadow on the outside world as a way to evade attacks. That's why it creates the illusion of shuttle. Besides, what was absorbed by the Uchiha Obito will also be thrown into this mysterious space. Like what? The ranking technique that he forcibly absorbed before. But, at this time, the moment when Uchiha Obito shifted his head to Kamui space in order to prevent the mask from being pulled off by Kakashi Hachiki, the head was horrified to discover, within your own Kamui space, the ranking technique, which was originally in a sealed state, has been launched. At the same time, a Zebo stream descended from the sky. In the palm of his hand, he also held an azure light pill. Cover yourself head on. Not good. Uchiha Obito could only watch that spiral pill continue to enlarge in his own eyes. But there is no way. Rumble. This mask made of extremely hard material can't compete with the power of the spiral pill after all. Bombed to pieces on the spot. Ding. Uchiha Obito has a strong anger, emotion, reward, kaleidoscope writing wheel eye right. Kaleidoscope writing wheel eye right, the advanced pupil technique that surpasses the three-hook jade writing wheel eye, even though there is only one, still has an incredible pupil power that is difficult to guess. Insight and illusion abilities will be greatly improved. And comes with Uchiha Obito Kaleidoscope Pupil Technique, Kamui. System prompt. It has been detected that the host has previously unlocked the Kaleidoscope Writing Wheel Eye left. At this time, the pupil power is further improved. And awaken the ultimate mystery of the Uchiha clan, Susanangu. The real body was shattered, and the projection of the outside world naturally changed. Kakashi Hachiki was still regretting for a moment that he failed to tear off his opponent's mask. Next second, but he was surprised to find that the mask of the mysterious person in front of him was shattered, revealing an extremely strange, but faintly familiar hideous face. You are. Kakashi's eyes widened suddenly. He stared at the face in front of him. As the captain of the Dark Force, Kakashi clearly has a good memory. He was sure he hadn't seen the man in front of him in the last few years. But, in his mind, a young face that was always full of sunny smiles suddenly appeared. In the next moment, the two faces, which were already very different, slowly merged into one. In the next moment, the two completely different faces slowly merged into one. Head. Hatake Kakashi's lips trembled and he murmured. At this moment, long-lasting memories emerged uncontrollably in his mind. All the past events flashed through Kakashi's mind like a movie. First acquaintance, provocation, bond, team up, White Fang, open your eyes, rock, trust. Until this moment, the picture in my mind suddenly stopped. Then, it exploded like fireworks. At this moment, Kakashi felt as if his head was going to explode. Ah! He howled in pain. The three Magatama Sharingan, at this moment, actually connected into a strange dart pattern. P.S. In the original setting, at the moment Nohara Lin died, the two of them turned on the kaleidoscope at the same time, but Kakashi never knew that this meant manifestation, not opening eyes. Blood and tears rolled down. Half of his face was stained red. Ding! Hatake Kakashi has a strong shock emotion and is rewarded with the Mangekyo Sharingan left. System prompt. It is detected that the host has previously unlocked the Mangekyo Sharingan left and the reward is fused into the enhanced Mangekyo Sharingan I pupil power. After the pupil power is enhanced, the speed at which the host can exert divine power will be greatly accelerated. At the same time, there will be two Shinwei spaces. One belongs to Uchiha Obito, and the other belongs to the host alone. When the host displays divine power, he can choose which space to enter according to his personal wishes. In the system space, Uchiha Madara's face was as black as the bottom of a pot. If it weren't for fear of exposing himself, he would really have yelled angrily. Obito, are you a fool? Why did I entrust the plan to an idiot like you in the first place? Divine power is obviously a weird and unpredictable super god level technique. I actually let you play like this. His true identity was revealed so easily. Waste. What a waste. Ding. Uchiha Madara has a strong, angry, emotion, and the reward is experience in using the Mangekyo Sharingan. The other side. Namikaze Minato stood up suddenly. He looked at that familiar face in disbelief, his body trembling constantly. Bring, Obito. 3 years ago, you were the one who released the Kyuubi, killed Kushina, and tried to destroy Konoha. No wonder I always feel an inexplicable sense of familiarity. But this, how can it be? You are obviously such an innocent, kind and caring child. Isn't your dream to become Hokage? Namikaze Minato's voice was full of pain and confusion. Ding! Namikaze Minato has a strong, unbelievable, emotion, and the reward is Flying Thunder God technique. Up to this point, he still didn't understand why Uchiha Obito became like this. Chinsho Phagian folded his arms and said in a deep voice. Minato boy, is this masked man really an acquaintance of yours? Yes, Namikaze Minato replied painfully. He was my former disciple. In the past, he was so sunny, kind, and full of kindness to everyone. Always aiming to become Hokage. Many years ago, we all thought he was killed in action. And before he died, he gave one of his Sharingan eyes to Kakashi. Did not expect, he has actually been alive. What I didn't even expect is that he will become like this. I almost don't recognize him anymore. I see, Qian Shu Feijian said in a deep voice. It's not surprising. The Uchiha clan has always been the most loving family. They love more deeply than anyone else. However, when one day, the beauty they love disappears, love can turn into hate in an instant. The whole person will fall into the evil path uncontrollably. Such deep love, or hate, is the source of power of the Sharingan that they are proud of. Because of this, Lao Kai has always been strongly defensive against Uchiha. Yes, is that so? Namikaze Minato's pupils shrank suddenly. So, what is the beauty that Obito loved so much and then disappeared? Yes, Namikaze Minato suddenly thought of something. He murmured somewhat uncertainly, is it Lin? The outside world. Kakashi covered the Mangekyo Sharingan with one hand and murmured, Obs, it's you, right? Ding. Uchiha Obito has a strong, angry, emotion, and the reward is, fire release explosive wind dance. Uchiha style. Brat. Uchiha Obito didn't want to talk to Kakashi at this time. He was still roaring angrily. Only then did he finally understand. Why did Uchiha Ryu use the seemingly ridiculous, ranking technique, before? The reason is to hide a wooden clone in his divine power space without anyone noticing. It only took a mere wooden clone to crack the kaleidoscope divine power that he was most proud of. At this time, Obito Uchiha is no longer the hot-blooded young man with no brains. He is very clear about what will happen if his vest falls off. First of all, Hitaki Kakashi in front of him will definitely be like a dog's skin plaster. Cling to him and not let go. Just like Jiraiya clung to Orochimaru. Secondly, and most importantly, his true identity has been exposed, and he can no longer use that man's name to bluff people. Uchiha Obito, Uchiha Madara. Although he is still the same person, but with a different name, his intimidation is completely different. Nagato and Konan didn't trust him to begin with, and now they even more. From now on, my control over the Akatsuki organization will probably plummet. At that time, the advancement of the Eye of the Moon plan will also face many obstacles. And all this, it's all thanks to that fool kid. Think of this. Uchiha Obito glared at Uchiha Ryu and muttered bitterly. Uchiha style. You deserve to die. At this time, Uchiha has no time to talk to Uchiha Obito. He is immersed in the massive system rewards. He is so happy that he is grinning from ear to ear. Kaleidoscope eyes. Kamui, Susanoo, and Flying Thunder God Jutsu. What a fruitful day. Uchiha Obito is indeed a blessed general. We will stop updating novels on this site, move to our new site, web links. We will stop updating novels on this site, move to our new site, web links. It's not in vain that he has been planning for so long to implement this mask removal plan. On the other side, Hitaki Kakashi saw that the other party ignored him at all. He continued to murmur, Obito, I know it's you. You're right, right. Listening to Kakashi calling the name that he had abandoned long ago over and over again. Uchiha Obito growled a little irritably. Shut up, Kakashi, you idiot. Really? A strange look flashed in Hitaki Kakashi's eyes. It's you, Obito. You were right. Uchiha Obito looked at him with disgust. So what if it's me? Hitaki Kakashi was suffocated at first. Then he continued to ask. How did you survive in the first place? Although it is said that the tomb of Uchiha Obito in Konoha is nothing more than a burial mound, but at that time, half of Obito's body was the whole person was crushed by a large rock, and later the entire person was buried. In that case, can people really survive? And, since you survived, why not return to Konoha? Do you know how much I have missed you over the years? Ah, Uchiha Obito looked sarcastic and sneered. How do you know I haven't returned to Konoha? 3 years ago, that Nine Tails rebellion was caused by me. Nani? Hitaki Kakashi's heart was shocked. 3 years ago, Kyuubi is you. Then, he seemed to suddenly remember something. The pupils shrank suddenly. That teacher Minato and his wife. That's right, Uchiha Obito admitted very frankly. I killed them all. How? Kakashi, you loser, do you want to avenge them now? Then come and give it a try. Looking at the extremely unfamiliar Obito in front of him, and listening to the decisive words coming from his mouth, Hatake Kakashi's face was full of disbelief, and he murmured, Why? Why are you like this? Where did the Uchiha Obito who originally targeted the Hokage go? By the end of the words, it had turned into a roar. Why? Uchiha Obito spread his hands and looked up at the sky with a look of madness on his face. Why? If you must give me a reason. That's because of you. Because of you. Do nothing to save Lin. Obito's voice was full of chill, as if it came from hell. Lin. The scars that were already difficult to heal were severely uncovered once again. The scene he had dreamed of in so many midnight dreams appeared in Kakashi's mind again. Rachel couldn't hold back her hand. Unwashable hands. Obito and Lin cannot be saved. Painful memories, like waves, hit Kakashi's heart heavily. Dense cold sweat instantly appeared on Hatake Kakashi's forehead. He couldn't help but look down at his hands. Extraordinarily white hands. But at this moment, Kakashi's eyes were filled with blood. His whole body became trembling. Seeing Hatake Kakashi's gloomy look, Uchiha Obito spat disdainfully. Cut. Waste. Uchiha was sitting calmly on a vine at this time. He had completely entered the melon-eating mode. He watched the show in front of him with interest. Two old teammates who had a deep kun in the past. At this moment, it's like stabbing each other with a knife. At the same time, in a system space unknown to the two of them. And their former teachers are silently witnessing. What an interesting scene. However, Uchiha always feels that the current melon is not exciting enough. The rewards that were revealed were not exciting enough. So, he was ready to add fuel to the fire. Chowdu Sak. Hey Tu, can anyone tell me who Lin is? Also, intruder, your reason for going dark is a bit too strange, isn't it? Although Kakashi-senpai didn't save that Lin. But aren't you alive? Why didn't you come to the rescue? Uchiha Obito wanted to yell loudly, shut up. What do you know, little devil? However, after hearing Uchiha's last question, he suddenly fell silent again. After a long while, he murmured with pain on his face. Because Konoha's ninjas are always late. Even the Golden Flash with the Flying Thunder God technique will be late. Not to mention, it's a waste like me. Ding. Uchiha Obito has a strong, painful emotion, and the reward is Kamui Shuriken. In the system space, Namikaze Minato's pupils shrank suddenly. He murmured, sure enough, I guessed it right. The beauty in Obito's heart is Lin. And, Obito, are you blaming me? Also, as a teacher, this is the first time I failed to protect Obito. I didn't protect Lin well the second time. What a failure. Ding. Namikaze Minato has a strong, painful emotion, and the reward is Flying Thunder God's second stage. Hatake Kakashi heard the words, and the pain on his face became even worse. Pain. It hurts so much, because of Uchiha's unintentional words. Completely brought up the rhythm. The three masters and disciples who were separated by yin and yang fell into intense pain at the same time. A long time, Uchiha Obito raised his head and stared at Kakashi. With a face full of pain, he said, Kakashi, do you know? Back then, when I arrived, I witnessed with my own eyes that my most trusted friend killed the person I loved most with my own hands. Do you know how desperate I was at that time? Facing Obito's questioning, Kakashi felt his heart throbbing. He murmured and tried to explain, Obito. At first, I wasn't at first. Lin her. He wanted to explain clearly the truth at that time. However, the situation at that time was too complicated and could not be explained clearly in a few sentences, not to mention. Now his head is not very clear to begin with. Enough. Uchiha Obito interrupted him impatiently. Kakashi, you loser, you have no right to mention Lin's name again. And I, in fact, have long stopped blaming you. Because it makes no sense. In this false, absurd, and cruel world, everything is meaningless. It's not Lin who's wrong, it's not you, and it's not me. But this world, this cruel world is dominated by desire and the war never stops. 937, Uchiha Obito spread his hands and outputted his thoughts with a face full of enthusiasm. Advanced thoughts that lead the entire ninja world. And the reason why I am still in this world. That is, I want to recreate a new world that is real and beautiful, where Lin and I, and even everyone, can live happily. In the system space, a group of undead listened to Uchiha Obito's great ideal, with different expressions. Namikaze Minato murmured, "Obito, how could such a dreamy thought arise?" Shinsho Feijian watched this scene with cold eyes. He said in a deep voice, "Madman. This kid is now a complete lunatic. Even my eldest brother couldn't do this kind of thing back then. It should even be said, even the immortal of 6 paths back then couldn't do it. Who does he think he is?" Outside world, Hitaki Kakashi frowned. He kept thinking about what Uchiha Obito said. Of course he would also like to have such a world. But, is this possible? On the contrary, Uchiha said with great interest, "Oh. So, your ultimate goal is actually peace in the ninja world. Sounds like a good ideal." That's right. Uchiha Obito's slightly ferocious face suddenly showed a hint of fanaticism. Only by achieving true peace can tragedies be prevented from happening again. Really? Uchiha nodded. In fact, I have been thinking about this issue over the years. I even have a plan on how to achieve true peace. Oh, when Uchiha Obito heard this, his eyes suddenly lit up. His eyes looking at Uchiha Ryu were filled with a strange light. It was as if he had suddenly found a soulmate. This kid named Uchiha Ryu is very close to me. We have a common language. Sure enough, it's very suitable to be recruited by the organization, right? Uchiha spread his hands and introduced. My plan is destroy all other countries, all ninja villages, and all ninjas in the ninja world. Only our fire leaves are left. In this way, the will of fire burned throughout the ninja world, and there were no more disputes in the ninja world. In the system space, the expressions of the undead became extremely weird. What a dangerous thought this is. At this moment, they seemed to suddenly understand why the second-generation Hokage is always extremely afraid of Uchiha. This family's people, my brain seems not normal. Ding. Hitaki Tsukumo has a strong shock emotion, and the reward is Thunder Fang chasing Fang. Ding. Namikaze Minato has a strong shock emotion reward reaction speed plus 20%. Ding. Senju Hashirama has a strong unbelievable emotion, and the reward is total chakra 3. The corners of Senju Hashirama's mouth twitched slightly. Kid, do you know what you are talking about? We'll destroy all other ninja villages and ninjas at every turn. How many people will die? The entire ninja world will become a purgatory, right? Also, why can you say such a terrifying thing so lightly? Shinsho Feijian was not surprised and sneered. I have already told you. This kid will definitely be the source of trouble for Konoha and even the ninja world in the future. His thoughts are simply more extreme and dangerous than that Uchiha Obito. Uchiha asked strangely, what nonsense are you talking about? Isn't it all for Konoha that I'm doing this? This is the embodiment of my perfect implementation of the will of fire. Nonsense. Senju Hashirama's eyes sharpened and he said in a deep voice. The will of fire teaches the ninjas in the village that they can sacrifice everything to protect the village and the villagers. When did you take the initiative to start a war and destroy other countries? There is definitely something wrong with this kind of thinking. Not the will of fire. Uchiha looked a little weird. It's you who has a problem with your thinking, right? Why do we have to wait for the enemy to come to attack us every time, and then passively fight back? How many companions will be sacrificed in vain? According to my plan, once successful, then, all enemies will be eliminated once and for all. The village and its companions will never suffer losses again. Isn't this the best way to protect the village by strangling all enemies in their cradle? This, Senju Hashirama's face turned red. He instinctively felt that such indiscriminate killing was absolutely wrong. However, under the explanation of Uchiha style, or the strong words, he actually didn't know how to refute. Ding. Senju Hashirama has a strong, unbelievable, emotion, and the reward is, would escape wood dragon technique. Snort. Shinsho Feijian snorted coldly. The sharp-tongued evil Uchiha brat. You have obviously stepped into the wrong path with half your foot, and you don't even know it. Outside world. After hearing what Uchiha said, Hitaki Kakashi also looked horrified. This subordinate of his, The will of fire in my heart is a bit too strong. Uchiha Obito staggered even more and almost fell to the ground. It took a long time before he came back to his senses. He scolded. Baga, kid, your thoughts are too extreme. Do you know how many people will die to complete your plan? Don't always think of killing people to solve problems. When Uchiha Obito said this, his heart ached extremely. No. It seems obvious that I am a traitor and a terrorist, right? What's going on now? You want me, a traitor and a terrorist, to persuade Konoha's Anbu to kill people randomly. What the hell is this? Uchiha looked strange. Could it be that your peace plan can be completed without killing people? Then why did you kill the fourth Hokage and his wife in the first place, and yesterday you killed Yamaphase? Oh yes, today I tried to kill Naruto. UTM. The corners of Uchiha Obito's mouth twitched slightly. No. Why can't the blame for killing Uzumaki Naruto still not be removed? After a long time, Uchiha Obito comforted himself in his heart and said, forget it. It doesn't matter. I also killed his parents. Even if he takes such a blame again, it doesn't matter. Besides, Uzumaki Naruto is the nine-tailed Jinchuriki. Morning and night, he would be taken out of the nine tails and reunited with his parents and family. Little things like this don't matter at all. What's more important now is, get this fool brat under your command as much as possible. Thinking of this, Uchiha Obito explained in a deep voice. They are just the price that must be paid to achieve final peace. Their death will promote peace. But, I can guarantee it. According to my method, far fewer people will die than your extreme method. Hatake Kakashi's forehead has black lines hanging down. You are quite proud. Uchiha smiled and said, maybe. Then he shouted loudly, it's a pity that you don't have the chance to realize that plan yourself. Today, Captain Kakashi and I are here. Are you prepared to pay with your life for the fourth Hokage? When Uchiha Obito heard this, he seemed to have heard the funniest joke. Shameless talk. Ask that good-for-nothing Kakashi, can he kill me? As he said that, Obito's eyes fell on Kakashi again. He said somewhat crazily, come, Kakashi, I'm standing here at 3.4. Use your Reikiri, through my chest, just like when I killed Lin. Although he didn't attack Kakashi at all. However, these words were the ultimate, magic attack. Like sharp swords, they pierced Kakashi's heart. Hatake Kakashi subconsciously turned his gaze, he threw himself at his hands again. It seemed as if he saw blood on his hands again. His body trembled again. The Uchiha Ryu was watching the excitement and did not mind it, so Daichi instigated. Hey, Kakashi-senpai, what's the matter with you? Don't let your guard down at the critical moment. At this moment, standing in front of you is a despicable intruder. The murderer who killed the fourth Hokage and his wife. The fourth Hokage, isn't he your teacher? Don't you want to avenge him? Hatake Kakashi suddenly received a double stimulus. He felt like his head was about to explode. On the one hand, it was his long-lost best friend who had gone astray. On the other hand, he was the hatred of his teacher. What should I do? At this moment, his Mangekyo Sharingan was spinning rapidly like a windmill. Ding! Hatake Kakashi has a strong, painful, emotion, and the reward is, Kamui Reikiri. Within the system space, looking at Kakashi who was in absolute pain. A hint of distress flashed through the eyes of Hatake Tsukumo and Namikaze Minato at the same time. Ding! Hatake Tsukumo has a strong, distressed, emotion, and the reward is, Konoha's secret teleportation technique, the Millennium Kill. Ding! Namikaze Minato has a strong, distressed, emotion, and the reward is, Flying Thunder God's reciprocal spin technique. Kakashi, Hatake Tsukumo murmured. He is a very emotional person. He also felt the same for his son's mood at this time. Namikaze Minato's emotions were more complicated. His thinking was closer to that of Senju Hashirama, but he never blamed Uchiha Obito from the beginning to the end. Instead, I blame myself all the time. In his opinion, Nohara Rin died young, Uchiha Obito fell into evil ways, and Hatake Kakashi was burdened with pain. All of this was because he, the teacher, failed to protect them. If possible, he hoped that Kakashi could bring Uchiha Obito back to the right path, but now, looking at Kakashi who almost completely collapsed, he could only say softly, Lu. Stop pushing Kakashi. There is no need to avenge me, there is no hatred in my heart. Let Obito leave. From now on, take your time to touch him again. Isn't this okay? Uchiha said with reluctance. Uchiha Obito killed my most respected Hokage. How can it be let go? This seems to go against the will of Fire 05, right? Stop talking nonsense, brat. Chinsho Phagian rolled his eyes and complained ruthlessly. Is there a ghost's will of fire in your heart? Moreover, when you meet anyone, you can always say that the other person is the person you admire the most. Uchiha wasn't angry either, he just replied cheerfully. Despicable thousand-armed old ghost. I have to say, you are really good at reading people. There are so many undead souls sealed in this space, all of them were outstanding people during their lifetimes. But only you can see me most accurately. We are really close friends. Pooh, Kionju Tobarama's face turned red. It seemed as if he had been greatly insulted. How can I be a close friend with an evil Uchiha brat like you? Ding. Senju Tobarama has a strong, angry, emotion, and the reward is, Flying Thunder God Technique, Senju Tobarama version. System prompt. It is detected that the host has previously unlocked the Flying Thunder God Jutsu Namikaze Minato version and the rewards will increase after fusion. Flying Thunder God's Technique activation speed plus 30%. External world. Hatake Kakashi trembled on the spot for a long time. Suddenly calmed down. His eyes regained their determination and he looked straight at Uchiha Obito. He said in a deep voice, Obito, it was you who saved me in time when I went astray. Let me understand the preciousness of companions. Now, it's my turn to save you from going astray. In the system space, a look of approval suddenly bloomed in Namikaze Minato's eyes. Good, good, you are worthy of being my disciple. You found the right path right away. This is exactly the path that I expected, teacher. Card, Cassie, well done. The outside world. Uchiha Obito obviously wouldn't appreciate it and sneered. Ridiculous. Facts have proved that in such a false and absurd world, companions have no meaning. Kakashi, look carefully with the Sharingan I gave you. One day, sooner or later, I will achieve my goal. Rebuild a brave new world. Hatake Kakashi seemed not to hear what he said, and said stubbornly. Obito, I couldn't rescue you from under the rock back then. Later, I couldn't protect Lin either. But this time, no matter what, I will take you back to Konoha. Even, break your legs. Uchiha Obito had a sarcastic look on his face, is it just a waste like you? Let me break your legs. Let's help you understand the reality. Puff, Uchiha couldn't help but laugh out loud. Speak with your conscience. He really endured it. I really couldn't hold it back. Oh shit, do you want it to be so funny? Logically speaking, this kind of scene should not be about shouting, Kun trip. What's going on with these two people? Are you ready to break each other's legs? Is this a strange style of painting? Why are you laughing? Two people who are obviously in different camps, but have a deep, kunming, at the same time turned their heads and glared at Uchiha. I think of happy things. What happy thing? I am old. I'm curious, whose leg will be broken here today? Why don't you two have a fair 1v1 showdown and I'll be the referee? Kakashi Hatake's face darkened and he shouted. Stop talking nonsense. Hurry up and take action with me. Get him. At least hold him back. The army is coming soon. As he said that, he took out a kunai from his ninja bag and rushed towards Obito energetically. It seems that he has found his goal. There is no longer the hesitation and entanglement before. Looking at Kakashi who is still alive and vigorous, Uchiha sighed and muttered. The amount of Kakashi's chakra can be called Naruto's most magical unsolved mystery. I can lie down after just 3 Magatama for a short while. I can also open a kaleidoscope for a long time, the other side. Seeing Kakashi taking action as soon as he said so, Obito's face looked a little unsightly. Just now, in order to promote my great ideas, I went a little too far. I almost forgot my current situation. The Mangekyo-I technique that he is most proud of, Kamui, is also the basis for his foothold in the ninja world. Now, it's not easy to use. Obito has not forgotten. There is a Uchiha-style wooden clone lurking in his Kamui space. And without Kamui, it would be very difficult for him to deal with a Kakashi. What's more, there is a cunning fool of the same race watching him. And, according to Kakashi, reinforcements are coming. When that time comes, I'm afraid it will be really difficult to escape. Only then did Uchiha Obito suddenly realize. I seem to have been fooled. You actually spent so long arguing with these two fools. Before Uchiha Obito could figure it out, Hatake Kakashi had already rushed to his face. Obito had no choice but to block it first. Today is no longer what it was before. Even facing a genius top student, like Kakashi, he can still fight without falling behind. But soon, there were surging sounds of breaking through the air behind me. Uchiha Obito knew that it was the wood release of the Uchiha style. He wanted to dodge, but was tightly entangled by Kakashi. Oh shit, Obito's heart was furious. No solution anymore. I had no choice but to bite the bullet and use blur. After this virtualization, the body immediately appeared in the divine power space. I saw that the ranking technique came together again at some point. That Uchiha Ruki clone was sitting on it leisurely, looking at himself with a joking expression. Hateful. Uchiha Obito can't look directly at this mean face now, because I'm afraid that I can't help but punch him. In fact, Comrade Shanji still hasn't figured out how the other party saw through his divine power, and quickly figured out a way to break 840, and designed a wooden clone to be sent in. This has never happened before. That's the truth. If Kamui was so easy to see through, he wouldn't have to mess around. However, now Uchiha Obito has no time to think about these details. The most important thing to him now is how to escape from Konoha. Just when he was thinking about how to kill this wooden clone in front of him, Uchiha Lu suddenly said, "Were you thinking just now, how did I see through your time and space spell?" Uchiha Obito's pupils shrank suddenly. This kid seems to be able to see through his own thoughts. Uchiha shrugged and opened his mouth to say the cup-filling quotation. To be honest, there is no secret in any ninjutsu in my eyes. Cut. Of course Uchiha Obito didn't believe it. What a shame. Believe it or not is up to you. Uchiha waved his hands indifferently. However, looking at your impatient expression, it must be my body outside and Kakashi-senpai who have caused you a lot of trouble, right? You want to escape Konoha. But, because of my existence, you are in trouble, right? You kid. Uchiha Obito's expression completely changed. No matter what kind of clone technique, there is no way to send messages across the air between the main body and the clone. There is no such thing as sharing of vision and sharing of real-time thinking. Only at the moment when the clone is released, all the experiences of the clone will be integrated into the mind of the main body. But now, Uchiha's body and clone are completely in two spaces. How does the clone in front of me know what's going on outside? Could it be, is it really just about analysis? This mind is too scary. I'm afraid this IQ, above me. That is to say, Uchiha doesn't know what Obito is thinking at this time. Otherwise, he will definitely curse in anger. Why do you scold others? You are already a virtuous person, is there still room for decline? At this time, Uchiha Lu looked at Obito who was silent. He said shockingly, "You don't have to worry. I can let you leave Konoha. You can even join your organization. In the system space." Namikaze Minato's eyes suddenly widened. Then he said eagerly, "The bridge, Chowdu Sak. Wow, what a great opportunity. Why did you let Obito go?" Uchiha asked with some confusion, "The fourth Hokage-sama. Didn't you ask me to let him go before?" Namikaze Minato said with a black line on his face. "I asked you to let him go before because I didn't want you to overly force Kakashi, who was already going crazy. Now that Kakashi has regained his faith and you have a complete grasp of Obito's weaknesses, why not take the opportunity to take him down? It is better to subdue him and let Kakashi slowly reform him than to continue to harm others outside." "How could I expect so much?" Uchiha said shamelessly. "Besides, as Hokage, it's always a bad thing to change your order every day, right?" Namikaze Minato said helplessly. "Even if you want to let him go, then why do you want to join his organization?" Uchiha grinned. "Of course it's out of curiosity. The fourth Hokage, aren't you curious about what great undertakings your former disciples are currently engaged in? If I come to break into their organization, wouldn't it be a good way to find out everything as quickly as possible? Forehead. Namikaze Minato frowned and pondered for a moment. He felt that what Uchiha said made sense. But, I always feel like something is not quite right. Outside world. Nani. Uchiha Obito heard that the other party was willing to let him go. He was even willing to join the organization. A light flashed in his eyes immediately. Are you telling the truth? Of course it's true. Uchiha shrugged. But, Uchiha Obito asked with some surprise. Why? How to say? Uchiha tilted his head and thought about it. First of all, you and I are of the same race after all. Secondly, I'm also very interested in your peace plan. Although I don't know how to implement it, since it is for peace, everything can be discussed. Speaking of this, Uchiha suddenly grinned. Moreover, you have 2 blood inheritance limits, Mangekyo Sharingan and Wood Release, and you still need such a powerful helper like me. To be honest, I'm becoming more and more interested in what you do. Cut. Uchiha Obito secretly curled his lips. What a stinking little brat. He looks like he thinks he has mastered all the situations. It's such an eyesore. That's what I should be like. Speaking of, if it weren't for this genius frame-up plan, something went wrong. If it hadn't been for the despicable, fishing law enforcement, by you kid. If you hadn't accidentally hit me and seen through my divine power. If I hadn't been careless later, I delayed it a little longer. Which turn does it take for you, a fool brat, to take control of the situation? In just a few breaths, Kenji reviewed the entire process since arriving in Konoha. Finally came to the conclusion, there is nothing wrong with me. It's entirely due to the opponent's luck. Wrong. Uchiha Obito suddenly came back to his senses. His sharp eyes kept examining the Uchiha flow in front of him. He said secretly, this kid, he suddenly proposed to join my organization. What does he want to do? Are you really interested in my plan? Or do you want to steal information for Konoha? However, this fool is actually not very loyal to Konoha. And, if he really wanted to steal information, there was no need to say let me go. Arrest me directly and hand me over to the intelligence agency. Well, it seems that they are really interested in my plan. In this case, it's a good time to take it under your command and make a good knife. Thinking of this, Uchiha Obito smiled again. Okay, just as you said. Uchiha nodded, the top priority now is to help you escape. After a while, I will take the initiative to remove this wooden clone, and the main body will get the news. When you see him letting loose, you seize the opportunity to run away. Uchiha Obito asked with some confusion. Don't you want to join the organization? Then why don't you come with me? The situation he imagined was, the 2 of them reached an agreement, then went out together to knock Kakashi over, and after a humiliation, the 2 of them walked away together. Kakashi, the loser, was left alone, whimpering and crying bitterly. What a wonderful scene. But, it seemed like things weren't going the way he wanted. The brat Uchiha clearly has his own ideas. This feeling of, the subordinates are completely disobedient, makes Obito a little unhappy. I still need to stay in Konoha for the time being. Uchiha shrugged. I'll talk about the specific details later. Let me send you away first. If you delay a little longer, Konoha's reinforcements are really coming. After you escape, find another opportunity to meet me. Uchiha Obito had no choice but to agree. Okay. Then you should quickly release the wooden clone now. Correct. Uchiha Lu seemed to suddenly think of something. In celebration of our 2 great pacifists, an alliance. I specially prepared a gift for you. It's just under the ranking technique, don't forget to check it later. As he spoke, he showed a half-smiling expression. He pointed to his chest and took the initiative to release the wooden clone. At the same time, the Uchiha flow body in the outside world immediately received the message. He immediately pretended to be overdrafted in chakra and began, paddle. Hatake Kakashi has quite a lot of combat experience and immediately noticed the decline of his teammate. He didn't have any doubts. After all, in his eyes, being able to control such a huge tree world is already a miracle in itself. It's not normal to be lively and energetic all the time. Haha. Uchiha Obito also started to show off at the right time. Kid, can chakra finally hold up? It seems that you are destined not to be able to keep me today. Not good. Hatake Kakashi was suddenly shocked. Obito, don't even think about running away. His hands formed seals quickly. Terrifying blue lightning gathered in his palms. I said, even if I break your legs, I will bring you back to Konoha. Speaking, the whole person rushed away like lightning. Rachel, ridiculous. Uchiha Obito sneered. He didn't even dodge, and began to absorb himself on the spot. Absorption is different from virtualization. It is much slower than the speed of virtualization. However, there is no 5 minutes limit. There are no enemies in the current divine power space. As long as you absorb yourself into the divine power space, even if it was safe. And Kakashi, with Reikiri's speed, had a chance to severely damage Obito the moment he absorbed himself. However, when he yelled, his determination was very firm. But it really happened. Zhao's front. The moment Lei Qi stretched forward, he couldn't help but think of that scene again. The scene where Reiki penetrates Nohara Rin. No, Kakashi Hatake screamed in pain. He stopped at the last moment. Obito Uchiha successfully completed the absorption. His figure completely disappeared. Oh beans. Kakashi Hatake's pupils shrank suddenly. He roared loudly. He dispersed the Reikiri in his hand and grabbed it forward. But only nothingness remained. Right now, a figure flashed to Kakashi's side. Uchiha accused with great pain, Captain Kakashi. What's the matter with you? Why show mercy at the last moment? Do you know what kind of disaster you let go? Break. He is a traitor. The murderer who killed the 4th Hokage. At the same time, there are still dangerous people trying to attack Naruto. Do you know how much damage you will cause to Konoha in the future just because you are soft-hearted at this moment? How many companions will die because of this? I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.